Dual Cultivation audiobook by Kevin Chapter 551 Surname Fang. Su Yin, you are Su Yang's little sister, right? I have been wanting to speak with you for a while now. Zai Xingfeng suddenly looked at her with a smile. Me? Su Yin showed a dazed expression. Zai Xingfeng nodded and spoke. If you have some time now, would you mind sitting down with me? I will serve you some of my family's finest tea in exchange for your time. Tea with your highness. Su Yin was dumbfounded, as she was just given a massive opportunity that would normally never happen. However, she could not imagine why Zai Xingfeng would be interested in her. While she's from one of the four great families, she hasn't done anything that would warrant this kind of attention, so this must not be about her but Su Yang instead. You don't want to? Zai Xingfeng showed a disheartened expression when Su Yin remained silent. And no. I would be honored to have tea with your highness, she said. As I just said, you can drop the formalities as we are the only ones here. Just call me Sister Xingfeng. I wouldn't dare, Su Yin shook her head nervously. That would make things complicated for me since I am very close with your elder brother after all. You're close with my elder brother. Su Yin looked at her with wide eyes and she asked, how close are we talking about? Su Yin, you shouldn't ask such rude questions, Bai Lihua said to her with a nervous expression. Zai Xingfeng chuckled and said, if you want to know, I'll tell you everything if you come with me. Okay, Sister Xingfeng. Su Yin immediately agreed, and her attitude towards Zai Xingfeng did a 180. I'll apologize in advance if my disciple behaves rudely, Your Highness, Bai Lihua said to her before they left. Once they left, Zai Wang looked at Bai Lihua and said, the Heavenly Swan sect has formed an alliance with the Profound Blossom sect, right? And this is before they even won the regional tournament. If you don't mind, can you tell me what caused you to come to such a decision? I don't mean to be rude, but an elite sect would normally not even notice a place as small and insignificant as the Profound Blossom sect, yet you tossed away all your pride and formed an alliance with them. I cannot imagine what would influence you to do such a thing. Well, that is. Bai Lihua showed a perplexed expression. It wouldn't be wise for her to reveal the details behind their alliance, but she was standing before the Zai family's ancestor, who is even more terrifying and powerful than the current Lord Zai. Heaven knows what might happen if she lies to his face and he finds out. If it's too difficult for you to answer my question, you can ignore it, Zai Wang suddenly said. I'm sure Su Yang must have offered you something that you cannot refuse, right? If that's the case, then I will not pry any further. After saying those words, Zai Wang returned to his living quarters. Meanwhile, inside Zai Xingfeng's room, she poured Su Yin a cup of tea. Her Highness from the Zai family is pouring me tea. Su Yin realized just how weird her situation was, as it would normally be the other way around. This tea is called the soul-cleansing green tea, and it's made of poisonous leaves from the abandoned forest. Of course, the poison has already been extracted from the leaves, so you don't have to worry about being poisoned, and it's also one of my favorites. Tea, thank you, Sister Xingfeng, Su Yin said to her before sipping on the tea that had a deep green color. It's sweet. I have never tasted such delicious tea before, Su Yin expressed surprise a moment later. I'm glad it suits your taste, junior sister. Zai Xingfeng smiled. A few minutes later, once they finished the tea, Su Yin asked Zai Xingfeng, Sister Xingfeng, what's your relationship with my elder brother? Where should I begin? Zai Xingfeng then began recalling to Su Yin her first meeting with Su Yang. Even though I have never seen him before, and before I knew of his identity, it only took a single glance for me to recognize his extraordinary existence. Zai Xingfeng said with a smile as she remembered how Su Yang nonchalantly handed her an immortal-grade technique that directly benefited her heavenly constitution. I have received a lot of assistance from him since then, so I owe him a lot. However, despite my status, I find it very difficult repaying him, as I feel like no matter what I give him, it would be akin to trash in his eyes. A few minutes later, Zai Xingfeng said to her, "Now that you know about my relationship with Su Yang, why don't you tell me more about him? I would love to know more about my benefactor after all." Thus, Su Yin and Zai Xingfeng began chatting with each other, with the majority of their topics being related to Su Yang. Many hours later, Su Yin left the place and returned to the Yin-Yang pavilion. So Su Yang wasn't always like this, huh? It seems like something major had happened to him after he left the Su family that caused such changes. Zai Xingfeng mumbled to herself afterward. After listening to Su Yin talk about Su Yang, she thought that her understanding of him would become clearer, but little did she expect that it would actually be the opposite. "Just who are you really, Su Yang?" Zai Xingfeng sighed. Meanwhile, a few miles away from the profound Blossom sect, multiple luxurious carriages could be seen approaching the sect's direction, and each of these carriages were carrying a large flag with the surname Fang elegantly sewed on it. "Matriarch Fang, we are almost at the profound Blossom sect," the carriage driver said to the individual inside the carriage he was managing. "Very well." A cold and distant voice resounded a moment later. Chapter 552. The Fang family. After traveling for half an hour, the carriages finally arrived at the profound Blossom sect's entrance gates. "We have arrived at the profound Blossom sect, matriarch," said the carriage driver. A few moments later, a stunning middle-aged woman wearing luxurious clothes walked out of the carriage, followed by a graceful young lady who appeared to be in her early 20s, and her body emitting the power of the first-level Earth Spirit realm. "So this is where she has been hiding for the past 10 years, huh? It's much cleaner than I'd expected." The young lady spoke in a nonchalant voice. Meanwhile, when the sect elder standing by the entrance noticed their carriages stop right in front of their gates, she approached them and said, "Who are you? And what business do you have with the profound Blossom sect?" The middle-aged lady stepped forward and said, "We are from the Fang family, and I am the matriarch Fang Xianju." "One of the 4 great families, that Fang family?" The sect elder asked for confirmation, her face filled with shock. Fang Xianju nodded, and she continued, "We have decided to come here after hearing that someone by the name of Fang Zhelan is currently a disciple here, am I right?" "Fang Zhelan. Yes, there is indeed a disciple with that name here." The sect elder nodded. "That's great, because she is actually a member of the Fang family and she's my daughter. It's been 10 years since she disappeared from the family, but I finally have a chance to see her again and bring her home," said Fang Xianji. "What? She's from the Fang family and you are her mother? That's not possible because her parents are already deceased. I'm afraid that you might have gotten the wrong person with a similar name." Fang Xianju calmly shook her head and said, "I have already investigated her background, so I am confident that she's my daughter. If you let me see her, I will be certain. Please wait a moment and let me notify the sect masters and Fang Zhelan," the sect elder said before retrieving her communication jade slip and explaining the situation to Liu Lanjai. Meanwhile, in the Yin-Yang pavilion, after receiving the sect elder's message, Liu Lanjai went to get Su Yang. "The Fang family is here, and they are claiming that Fang Zhelan is with them." Su Yang raised his eyebrows. "I don't know what's happening, but Fang Zhelan told me that her parents had died before she came to the sect, so either she lied or the Fang family mistook her for someone from their family," Liu Lanjai said. "Either way, let's get Fang Zhelan and meet with the Fang family." A few minutes later, Fang Zhelan appeared at the Yin-Yang pavilion after being summoned, but she was unaware of the situation. "Disciple Fang, you told me that your parents had died before you joined the sect, right?" Liu Lanjai asked her afterward. Fang Zhelan made a puzzled expression, but she nodded a few moments later. "That's right, sect master." Liu Lanjai looked at her with a serious expression and said, "Well, one of the 4 great families from the western region, The Fang family is currently here, and they are claiming that you are one of them. Wah! A shocked expression immediately appeared on Fang Zhelan's face after hearing this news. Seeing the complicated emotions in her eyes, Liu Lanjai spoke. I don't know the circumstances behind any of this, but we cannot keep the Fang family waiting forever. Whether they are right or mistaken, we will know once you meet them. Fang Zhelan bit her lips and spoke in a low voice. There's no need for that, sect leader. They are right, and I am indeed from the Fang family. I am sorry for lying to you and hiding this fact, but I have my own reasons for doing so. Liu Lanjai sighed after hearing her words and said, I had a feeling this would be the case. However, I doubt the Fang family will leave without meeting you. No matter your reason, they are here for you now and you cannot run away forever. But Fang Zhelan's eyes narrowed and her aura emitted reluctance. It was obvious that she did not wish to meet the Fang family, but there was nothing Liu Lanjai could do, as they couldn't simply just send one of the 4 great families away by force. Ha! Su Yang suddenly sighed and he spoke as he grabbed Fang Zhelan's trembling hands. What are you afraid of? I will also be there with you. Su Yang, Fang Zhelan looked at him with teary eyes. I don't care about your circumstances, nor do I care about your reason for lying, as everyone has a thing or two they do not wish to reveal to the public. However, no matter what happens, I will be on your side. After hearing his words, Fang Zhelan nodded. Okay, I will meet with the Fang family. However, before we meet them, I want you to know about our circumstances. And she began revealing to them the truth about her background. It is true that I used to belong to the Fang family. However, when they realized that I had no talent in cultivation, they decided to sell me to another family, as only my appearance was worth anything in such a powerful and influential family. Of course, I did not want to spend the rest of my life as a plaything for some young master, so I ran away from the family right before my coming of age. After leaving the family, I decided to join the Profound Blossom sect, where I could freely choose my own partners. I had no idea that you had such a story. Liu Lanjai showed a shocked expression after hearing her story. But how could they say you have no talent? You were and still is one of the most talented disciples we have. Liu Lanjai said while shaking her head, thinking that the Fang family must have misjudged her talent. Chapter 553 Fang Zhelan's real background. Aren't you missing some logic in your words just now? Su Yang said to Liu Lanjai, who raised her eyebrows in a confused manner. The Profound Blossom sect may be very powerful now, but that was not always the case. Even if she's one of the most talented disciples in the Profound Blossom sect, she is only a disciple of a small sect. Compared to the Fang family, one of the most powerful families on the entire Eastern continent, even their least talented individuals could become top geniuses in the Profound Blossom sect without much effort. Su Yang is right, sect master, Fang Zhelan said with a bitter smile. I may be considered a genius here, but I am nothing in the Fang family. Even if that's the case, you should not lose to even the most talented individual within the Fang family now. Liu Lanjai said. That's probably the main reason why the Fang family is looking for me in the first place. Now that I am considered to be one of the most talented individuals in the Eastern continent, they want me to return to the Fang family to boost their reputation and whatnot. Fang Zhelan sighed. If that's the case, what are you going to do? Liu Lanjai asked her. What? I'm going to refuse, of course. I have survived for over 10 years without their help, so why would I need their help now? She coldly snorted, feeling disgust just thinking about returning to the Fang family. Liu Lanjai nodded with a slight smile on her face, and she spoke. I see. Anyway, the Fang family will most likely refuse to leave if you don't tell them your words just now straight to their faces. Sometime later, Fang Zhelan and the sect masters went to meet with the Fang family. In the guests' lobby, where the Fang family was getting impatient, the door suddenly opened, and Fang Zhelan calmly walked into the room, followed by Su Yang and Liu Lanjai. When Fang Xianju saw Fang Zhelin's face, she quickly stood up and approached Fang Zhelin with her arms spread and her face beaming with delight. "Oh, Fang Zhelin, it's really you. Do you still recognize your own mother? I have been dying to see you again after you went missing 10 years ago." However, Fang Zhelin took a few steps back and avoided her mother's embrace. "My daughter." Fang Xianju looked at her with a surprised expression, seemingly in disbelief. Fang Zhelin narrowed her eyes and spoke. "I remember you very well, mother. However, I also remember everything that had happened when I was in the Fang family, how you all treated me with disgust, like I didn't belong there, especially you, hence why I left in the first place. If you think you can get me to return to the Fang family, then you are sorely mistaken, as I have a new family now at the Profound Blossom sect. Furthermore, your acting like you never knew about my location for the past 10 years is quite bad. With the Fang family's influence and resources, I'm sure you knew about my presence here the entire time. The only reason you didn't come get me sooner was simply because I have become a dual cultivator, making my body, the only thing worth a thing in your eyes, completely worthless." Fang Xianju's face flushed with redness, and her body trembled from anger after hearing Fang Zhelin's words. "How ungrateful!" She suddenly exploded, causing her beautiful face to twist until it looked ugly. "To think you would spit on the hands that fed you for more than half of your life despite giving us nothing worthy in return. Just because you have gained some reputation and strength now does make you invincible, Fang Zhelin. If I truly wanted to ruin your life, even the Profound Blossom sect cannot protect you." The entire room became speechless for a good moment until Liu Lanjai stepped forward and spoke with a frown on her face. "Senior Fang, your words just now. Can I interpret that the Fang family is threatening the Profound Blossom sect?" Fang Xianju immediately turned to look at her and shouted, "Who the hell do you think you are? Just because the Profound Blossom sect received some recognition after the regional tournament, it does not immediately put you on the level of the 4 great families that have had more reputation for hundreds of years. This is why I despise people like you, who become blinded by arrogance after receiving the smallest recognition." The place turned quiet again, and Liu Lanjai stood there with a dazed face, as this is her first time dealing with someone as aggressive and unreasonable as Fang Xianju. "Xiaoru, you should say something to your worthless elder sister too," Fang Xianju said to her. However, when no response came back after many moments, Fang Xianju turned around to look at her and said, "Why are you being so quiet? If you don't let these arrogant people know their places, this world will quickly become an unbearable place." Xiaoru. When she saw the dazed expression on Fang Xiaoru's face, almost like she was enchanted by something, Fang Xianju's eyes widened with shock, as she has never witnessed Fang Xiaoru making such an expression before. She then followed the general direction of Fang Xiaoru's gaze and finally noticed Su Yang, who was calmly standing by the entrance. "You are Su Yang from the Su family," Fang Xianju frowned. "What did you do to my daughter?" she asked him in a cold voice. What are you talking about?" "I have been standing here and minding my own business the entire time." Su Yang shrugged with a puzzled face. "Bullshit. You clearly did something to my daughter, or else she wouldn't have such a bewitched expression on her face." She quickly slammed the table before her, causing the place to tremble. "Mother." Fang Xiaoru finally woke up from her daze after feeling the trembling. "What were you saying just now? I was kind of occupied for a moment," she asked while she continued to glance at Su Yang with the corner of her eyes, almost as though she was attracted by some kind of unknown force emitted by him. The place turned silent, and everybody in the room was looking at her with wide eyes. Chapter 554, Fang Zhelin's Dilemma. Ever since Su Yang entered the room, Fang Xiaoru could not help but stare at him as though she was mesmerized by some kind of seduction technique. While she has heard rumors of his appearance, she didn't think he would turn out to be this handsome. Fang Xiaoru herself was the type to always look down on others, and she rarely acknowledges even people much older than her, much less those around her age. However, it only took a quick glance at Su Yang's aura and demeanor for her to recognize his abilities and quality. And in her 20 years of living in this world, she has never seen anyone like him before, and she has met with a lot of geniuses from the top families and sects in this world, but nobody could compare to Su Yang's overwhelming presence. If only she could follow someone like him for the rest of her life, she would not have a single complaint for the rest of her life. Mother, I have decided. Fang Xiaoru suddenly spoke with a bewitched expression. I want to join the profound Blossom sect. You what? Fang Xianju cried out loud, her face filled with bewilderment and shock. Absolutely not. Have you lost your mind? Why would you want to be in this small place? You wouldn't understand it even if I explained it to you, mother. Fang Xiaoru shook her head. Fang Xianju's entire face fumed with redness. Fang Xiaoru wants to join the profound Blossom sect. Fang Zhelin looked at her with a dazed face, almost as though she couldn't believe her ears. Even Liu Lanjai couldn't help but stand there with a dumbfounded expression. Fang Xiaoru is without a doubt one of the most talented individuals on this continent, and if she were to join the profound Blossom sect, their reputation would surely rise to a new height. However, Su Yang's voice suddenly resounded. I'm glad that you are interested in the profound Blossom sect, but the disciple examination is already over. If you wish to join us, you must wait until next year and pass the exam. Everybody in the room turned to look at him with wide eyes and mouths. While Fang Xiaoru wanting to join the profound Blossom sect was shocking, Su Yang refusing such a talented person into their sect was even more shocking. You can't make an exception for me? Fang Xiaoru asked him in a pleading voice whilst making a disheartened face. Regardless of your status, rules are rules. If I allow someone to enter so easily, then the disciples that have taken the examination will feel unjust. Su Yang shook his head, remaining adamant on his decision. Then it'll be fine if I also take the examination. I will even compensate you for the trouble. Fang Xiaoru was also adamant about joining the profound Blossom sect, and she continued, how about my body? I will give you my body in return for allowing me to take the examination. If I fail, I will still give you my body, and I will also give up on joining the profound Blossom sect. My body is still pure if that's what you are wondering. Xiaoru, have you gone insane, offering your chastity for something stupid like this? There are countless other sects out there that would beg to have you in their sect, and even the elite sects would not dare to chase you away. Why must you lower in such a way? Fang Xianju, her mother, quickly interrupted. However, Fang Xiaoru remained silent, her gaze staring directly at Su Yang's eyes. Su Yang showed a smile on his face a moment later and he spoke. I must admit, your determination is admirable. How about this? I will let her decide. He suddenly pointed at Fang Zhelin, who immediately jumped. Ah, you want me to? She asked while pointing at herself. Su Yang nodded. After all, not only are you a sect elder, but she is also your junior sister. There are times when sect masters have to rely on the sect elders. After Su Yang handed the privilege to decide Fang Xiaoru's fate to Fang Zhelin, everybody in the room turned to look at her. Don't you dare allow her into the sect, Fang Zhelin. Her mother suddenly shouted at her. I swear that I will do everything in my power to ruin this place if you allow her into the sect and ruin her future. Meanwhile, Fang Xiaoru approached her and lowered her body until she was kowtowing to Fang Zhelin. Please, elder sister, if you let me in the sect, I will do anything you want me to, she pleaded, shocking Fang Zhelin. Fang Zhelin took a deep breath and closed her eyes to ponder. When the entire Fang family mocked me for being useless, she was the only one who didn't bully me. Perhaps it's because I am simply too insignificant in her eyes to be bothered, but I was truly grateful that my younger sister did not mock me, as my life within the family would have been even more miserable. And as her elder sister, even if I am no longer in the family, I should at least listen to her, and if joining the profound Blossom sect will make her happy, I shouldn't take that away from her. Fang Zhelin opened her eyes and looked at her mother, who was so angry that she was trembling non-stop. Since she's so desperate and unwilling to allow Fang Xiaoru to join the sect, she'll definitely become infuriated if I give Fang Xiaoru the chance, allowing me to get some revenge for being mistreated in the past. But if she truly intends to harm the profound Blossom sect afterward, Fang Zhelin was feeling extremely perplexed. On one hand, she wanted to be a kind elder sister to Fang Xiaoru, and allow her to join the sect and get revenge on Fang Xianju at the same time. But on the other hand, she doesn't want to cause more trouble for the profound Blossom sect with the Fang family targeting the sect because of her decision, as she has already caused massive trouble for the profound Blossom sect once with Xiao Bai, nearly causing their downfall. Chapter 555 Family Dispute. After many moments of silence and pondering, Fang Zhelin finally turned to look at Su Yang with a troubled gaze, clearly asking him for help. However, Su Yang merely smiled and said, "No matter your decision, I will support it. I swear to God, Fang Zhelin, if you don't choose wisely, not only you, but the entire profound Blossom sect will feel the Fang family's wrath," Fang Xianju shouted. Hearing her words, Fang Zhelin trembled. "If you think we are scared of the Fang family, then you can go ahead and try to mess with us." Liu Lanjai unexpectedly raised her voice, causing everyone there to look at her with wide eyes. Although you may have immense influence and a powerful background, the profound Blossom sect is no longer the weak and small sect that it used to be. Not only did we win the regional tournament, but we also have the support of 2 elite sects. If you think that you can bully us, then we will fight back with everything that we've got." Despite her vicious words and serious expression, Liu Lanjai's heart was trembling from fear, as she could have never imagined that she would dare talk back to the matriarch of the Fang family, one of the 4 great families that govern the eastern continent. "How dare you, a lowly sect master, speak to me in such a manner?" Fang Xianju roared, causing the place to tremble. However, she was quickly interrupted by Su Yang's sudden laughter. "Ha ha ha! Well said, sect leader. Now you are finally starting to act like someone with power." He approached Fang Xianju and continued, "Is being the 4 great families really as great as you make it out to be? You sure talk big for someone only at the peak of the Earth Spirit realm, Matriarch Fang. And if you think the Fang family could possibly threaten the profound Blossom sect, then I welcome you to try. You, who has the surname Su, is this the Su family declaring war against my Fang family?" Although the Su family has been the #1 family amongst the 4 great families for the last few decades, everyone can see that they are no longer as powerful as it used to be. Hearing Fang Xianju's words, Su Yang merely smiled and said, "I have nothing to do with the Su family. After all, I was abandoned by them just like Fang Zhelin was abandoned by the Fang family. However, unlike the Fang family, at least the Su family did not shamelessly approach me and act like our grievances never existed when they realized my talents. You..." Just as Fang Xianju was about to explode from anger, Fang Zhelin interrupted, "I have finally decided, Su Yang." She then turned to look at her younger sister, Fang Xiaoru, who has not lifted her head this entire time, and spoke. "You are very talented, Xiaoru, much more talented than I will ever be, and that talent caused you to look down on everyone who's not as talented as you. However, I do not blame you, as that's how we were raised by our parents. While your reason for wanting to join the sect is questionable, I can tell that your feelings are genuine, and as a disciple of the sect and your elder sister, it would go against everything I was taught here to ignore your passion. Therefore, I have decided to let you partake in the disciple examination. If you pass, then you will be allowed to become a disciple. However, if you fail—" Fang Zhelan did not finish her sentence, as it was obvious what she was going to say. "Thank you, elder sister. Even if I fail, I will never forget your generosity today," Fang Xiaoru said to her. "Fang Zhelan, you little whore." Fang Xianju could no longer control her emotions and finally exploded in anger, preparing to jump at Fang Zhelan. However, before she could move, a powerful and profound force appeared out of thin air and restricted her movements. "Who dares to restrict my movements?" she cried out loud. A clear and old voice resounded a moment later. "I did not plan on getting involved in your family dispute and would have rather remained a spectator, but your actions today have greatly disappointed me, Matriarch Fang." This voice is impossible. Fang Xianju trembled in fear upon realizing the identity of this voice. What is the Zai family's ancestor doing here?" she cried inwardly. And as much as Fang Xianju wanted to kowtow and apologize to Zai Wang, because of the restrictions on her body, she was unable to move even a muscle. Zai Wang's voice resounded again. "I honestly don't care if the Fang family wants to fight with the Su family or the Profound Blossom sect, but you know how much I hate nearby commotions when I am trying to relax. Therefore, I am going to ask you nicely to leave things as they are, withdraw for the time being, and continue your family dispute another time." After his sentence ended, the restriction of Fang Xianju's body was also removed. "Although it was never my intent, I apologize for disturbing the ancestors' peace." Fang Xianju bowed to the air before looking at the people that followed her. "We are leaving," she said to them. However, before leaving, she turned to look at Fang Xiaoru and said, "I will give you 7 days to appear at the Azure Cloud sect. If you do not show up, you can follow your elder sister's steps and act as though your parents have died. As much as I hate to lose a talented daughter like you, I also have no use for a disobedient daughter. I won't lie and say that losing you won't greatly hurt the Fang family, but we have no shortage of geniuses. If you leave the family, then all of your cultivation resources will go to someone else. HMPH." Fang Xianju coldly snorted before disappearing from their sight. Chapter 556 Fang Xiaoru's Examination. "Are you sure it's okay for you to be doing this?" Fang Zhelan asked Fang Xiaoru after their mother left the place. "I only left the family because of their neglect and bullying, but you are a different story. Being one of the top geniuses within the family, you are throwing away something most people in this world would kill to obtain." "It's fine," she calmly responded. "There is no longer anything I can learn from them, and I never liked the atmosphere there anyway. By the way, when can I take the disciple examination?" she then asked. "We can do it right now," said Su Yang. Sometime later, Su Yang brought Fang Xiaoru to the examination area with Fang Zhelan and Liu Lanjai watching in the background. "Do you think she'll pass?" Fang Zhelan asked Liu Lanjai. "As the genius of the Fang family, her talent is definitely the real deal, but I cannot say for certain that she'll pass the exam, as the most challenging test for her in this exam would be the Demon Heart Pill exam, which does not care for one's talent but their Dao heart instead." Meanwhile, on the first stage, Fang Xiaoru touched the Bone Age Totem and the Spiritual Totem. 21 years old, first level Earth Spirit Realm. After passing the first exam, she walked to the second stage. Once she was prepared, Su Yang crushed the Demon Heart Pill. Fang Zhelan watched nervously as Fang Xiaoru sat in the middle of the red mist. 5 seconds passed without any issues. 10 seconds later, Fang Xiaoru's body began to tremble. On the 20th second mark, a line of blood dripped from her nose. "This is..." Fang Zhelan showed a worried expression. If Fang Xiaoru fails the examination, she would have no choice but to return to the Fang family. But after what happened today, who knows what their mother might do to her if she returns. 25 seconds into the exam, both of her nostrils were running with blood. However, Fang Xiaoru did not give up, and Su Yang also did not try to stop her. 26 seconds, 27, 28, 29 seconds. Right as the timer hit the 30 seconds mark, Su Yang waved his sleeves, causing the red mist to instantly disperse. Fang Xiaoru coughed up a mouthful of blood immediately afterward. Did I pass the exam?" she asked him in an exhausted voice. "Yes, you did." Su Yang nodded, and he continued, "However, you barely passed. If you had to endure it for another second or two, you would have died." A few moments later, Fang Xiaoru went on the third stage and mixed some of the blood on her lips into the bowl of water, and everyone there watched as the pure water turned deep red. "Congratulations, you have passed the third exam, and now you get to fight me. With that being said, I won't fight an injured woman, even if it's just a friendly spar, so I will give you some time to recover your strength before we spar," Su Yang said before tossing her a few spirit stones. Fang Xiaoru accepted the spirit stones and immediately started absorbing the spiritual energy within the spirit stones to recover her strength. While Fang Xiaoru recovered her strength, Fang Zhelin approached him and asked, "Since she passed all 3 examinations, does this make her a disciple of the profound Blossom sect?" Su Yang nodded and said, "Not only is she incredibly talented, but she also has the determination. While her Tao heart needs some work, once she is properly trained, she'll without doubt become a powerful figure in this world. Even without the profound Blossom sect, she could reach the level of Lord Zai. She's that talented." Fang Zhelin looked at him with wide eyes, as Su Yang rarely gives out such high praises to anyone. He nodded and said, "Out of all of the disciples in this sect, only Yan Yan is above her in terms of talent. The Fang family probably doesn't know the true extent of her talents, or else they wouldn't have given up on her so easily." Sometime later, once Fang Xiaoru finished recovering her strength, she approached the 4th stage. "I won't move until you attack me first," Su Yang said to her, "and there's no need to hold back. Hit me with everything you've got." Fang Xiaoru nodded, and she began to accumulate her spiritual energy in one area, her right hand. That's. Fang Zhelin immediately recognized this technique and expressed surprise. "What kind of technique is that?" Liu Lanjai asked her out of curiosity. "That's the Sublime Mountain Fist, Fang family's hereditary technique, and it's one of their strongest one. Rumors say it has the power to destroy an entire mountain with a single punch if practiced to perfection. If the Fang family allowed her to learn that technique, they must have really treasured her talent," she explained. "Using your strongest technique as your first attack, at least you have some sense," Su Yang said with a calm smile on his face. A few moments later, Fang Xiaoru rushed at Su Yang with her fists flying towards his face. An enormous pressure suddenly bore down on Su Yang's body, making it feel as though he was carrying a mountain on his back. And right as Fang Xiaoru released the energy in her fist, the platform she was standing on shattered into many pieces. "Ha!" Fang Xiaoru shouted loudly as she punched at Su Yang. Su Yang remained smiling and casually raised his hands to catch Fang Xiaoru's fist with his bare palms. Boom! A powerful ripple that was strong enough to push Fang Zhelin and Liu Lanjai a few steps back was created from the impact. Yet Su Yang remained standing in the same spot with a smile on his face. "No way!" Fang Xiaoru stared at her fist with a dazed look on her face, seemingly in shock that Su Yang managed to stop her martial technique so effortlessly. Chapter 557. A mere glance after her attack failed, Fang Xiaoru immediately jumped back to distance herself from Su Yang. However, Su Yang quickly followed her, even throwing his own punch. "What?" Fang Zioru cried out loud when Su Yang's punch emitted the same aura as the sublime mountain fist, but it was much quicker and sharper than her own technique. Unable to dodge the attack in time, Fang Zioru had no other choice but to block the attack with her own body. Allah! Fang Zioru went flying off the stage and far into the distance after barely blocking his attack with her arms. Is it just me, or did Su Yang use the Fang family's technique just now? Liu Lanjai asked Fang Zhelan with a dumbfounded expression on her face. No, you saw right. He just used the sublime mountain fist. But how is that possible? Only a select few from the Fang family could even see the technique, much less learn it. Fang Zhelan replied in a shocked voice. Unless Su Yang somehow sneaked into the Fang family and secretly learned the martial technique, there was no logical explanation as to how he could have learned the Fang family's hereditary technique. Sometime later, Fang Zioru returned to the stage with a messy appearance, and she asked him with a confused face, "That was definitely the sublime mountain fist just now. How come you can use a martial technique that only a few from the Fang family can learn? The sublime mountain fist that you know of is only a small part of a much larger and powerful martial technique. I don't know how the Fang family obtained it, but it's not as special as you believe it is." Su Yang explained to her. The technique that he was referring to is a popular and powerful martial technique in the four divine heavens used mostly by body cultivators, and the sublime mountain fist is barely the tip of the iceberg in terms of the technique's full prowess. As for how the Fang family obtained such a technique, he could only imagine it has something to do with Immortal Han Xin, the unfortunate heavenly emperor's lackey who got tossed into this world by accident. Seeing Fang Zioru's dumbfounded expression, Su Yang said, "I can tell that you have great affinity with this technique, so I will give you the full martial technique." Really? Isn't it something valuable?" she asked him. After all, if the Fang family considers a small part of the full technique a priceless treasure, the full martial technique itself would obviously be worth even more. Well, even though I said that I will give you the full technique, it's not exactly the entire thing, as you are not capable of understanding it at this moment. Therefore, I will only give you what you can handle for now, and once you become more powerful and knowledgeable, I will give you the real thing. Anyway, you have passed the examinations, and you already have what it takes to become a core disciple, so I will give you that position. Once you are done with your arrangements, you can come to me to receive the technique." "Thank you," she bowed to him despite the pain in her body. Su Yang nodded and turned to look at Fang Zhelan. "I will leave her in your hands for now," he said to her. Sometime later, Fang Zhelan brought Fang Zioru to receive her disciple robes and her identity badge. While they were walking, Fang Zioru suddenly asked her, "Elder sister, have you had sex with Su Yang yet?" Fang Zhelan nearly tripped on herself after hearing such a question, and she responded in a prideful tone, "Don't make it sound so vulgar. We call that cultivation here. And yes, I have cultivated with him before, and many times at that." "Really? I am envious," Fang Zioru said. "You are jealous of me." Now that's something I didn't expect to hear in this lifetime, since I am the one who has always been envious of you, how you are so much more talented than me, especially how you receive all of the family's affection. Fang Zhelan sighed. "Are you angry at me?" Fang Zioru asked her, "for not helping you?" "Why would I be angry at you? You were the only one who didn't bully me. If I should be angry at someone, it should be towards our parents and the Fang family itself. They treat people who have lesser talents as though they are trash. Anyway, enough of the Fang family. You joined the Profound Blossom sect for Su Yang, right?" Fang Zioru nodded after hearing her question, not denying that Su Yang is the only reason she is interested in this place. "Su Yang is really amazing. To think he'd charm someone like you without any effort, only by standing in the same room as you." Fang Zhelan couldn't help but smile, and she continued, "So What was it about him that caused your heart to flutter? Is it his handsome face, his demeanor, or the otherworldly aura that surrounds him? His gaze, Fang Xiaoru answered without hesitation. His gaze, Fang Zhelan repeated after her. She nodded and explained in a passionate voice. When he looked at me, even though it was only a quick glance, it felt as though he could see everything about me, and I was no different from being naked when before his eyes. I have never felt such a powerful and profound gaze before, and it instantly caused my heart to beat loudly. Fang Zhelan was speechless when she saw the expression on Fang Xiaoru's face as she spoke of Su Yang's sharp gaze, as it was no different than a maiden experiencing her first love. It only took a single gaze from Su Yang to bring someone like Fang Xianru, who is known for being distant and condescending, down to her knees. Fang Zhelan sighed inwardly, as she wasn't sure whether she should fear or admire such a terrifying ability. Chapter 558, offering her body after helping Fang Xiaoru receive her disciple robes and finding a living quarter. Fang Zhelan said to her, "Now that you have everything you need, I will go through the sect rules and your privileges as a core disciple." A few minutes later, after explaining the rules to her, Fang Zhelan spoke about her privileges. As a core disciple, you will get unlimited support by the sect. This means that as long as it's justified, you can ask for any amount of spirit stones. Any amount of spirit stones? Is the Profound Blossom sect very wealthy or something? Fang Xiaoru asked. I guess it's something like that, she nodded, not daring to reveal to her that they'd recently used 300 million spirit stones in one go. Then do you think I'll be able to get a spiritual treasure? Now that I am no longer with the Fang family, I no longer have access to one. The sect masters deal with the spiritual weapons and the cultivation techniques, so you'll have to ask them about that, but I don't see why they won't give you one, as we have plenty of spiritual treasures. Fang Zhelan said. Anyway, you should speak to Su Yang about your cultivation technique now that you are done here. Fang Xiaoru nodded and she said, "Thank you for everything, elder sister." "There's no need to thank me. I am only doing what I should as your elder sister." Fang Zhelan responded with a smile. "If you need anything in the future, you can come to me." Right before Fang Xiaoru left, she suddenly embraced Fang Zhelan, dumbfounding her, as this is the first time she has ever felt her younger sister's embrace. Sometime later, Fang Xiaoru went to the Yin-Yang pavilion to look for Su Yang. You. What the hell are you doing here, Fang Xiaoru? When Su Yin saw Fang Xiaoru in the Profound Blossom sect's disciple robes, her eyes widened with shock. Su Yin, Fang Xiaoru narrowed her eyes. I can ask you the same question. Why are you here? Oh, so the two of you already know each other. Su Yang raised his eyebrows. Since the four great families like to gather almost every year to have friendly exchanges between the junior generation for bragging rights, of course, we would know each other. In fact, we have sparred with each other plenty of times. Su Yin explained to him their relationship. Indeed, we have fought 7 times in total. Fang Xiaoru nodded and she continued, by the way, I won 5 out of those 7 times. That's because I was still young and inexperienced. I defeated you 2 times in a row in the last 2 gatherings. How dare you try and embarrass me in front of my elder brother? Let's fight right now, Fang Xiaoru. Su Yin pointed at her with a red face. HMPH. I don't have the time to deal with you right now, Su Yin, as I am here for the sect master. Fang Xiaoru said before looking at Su Yang. Sect master, as promised, I am here to offer you my body for allowing me to take the disciple examination, she said to him with a calm expression. What? Su Yin trembled in shock after hearing her words. What is going on here, elder brother? Su Yang smiled and gave her a quick explanation of what had happened recently. Anyway, you don't need to give me your body because it was Fang Zhelan who allowed you to partake in the examination, not me, he said to Fang Xiaoru. And you are not in the Dual Cultivation division, so I cannot cultivate with you without any reason. That's right. Know your place, Fang Xiaoru. And just to be clear, I am technically also a disciple of the profound Blossom sect, Su Yin added. However, Fang Xiaoru ignored Su Yin's clear provocation and said to Su Yang, "Then you will have to cultivate with me if I join the Dual Cultivation division." Su Yang rubbed his temple. Knowing her character and her determination, Fang Xiaoru probably won't leave him alone until he cultivates with her. Furthermore, it was clear as day that the reason why Fang Xiaoru even joined the profound Blossom sect was so she could be close to him. After a moment of silence, Su Yang sighed. "Well, since you did sacrifice a lot to join the sect, I guess I can grant you this one request. After all, it would be too cruel to reject her after she abandoned her family just to be in the sect." "What?" Su Yin looked at him with a face of disbelief. "Are you sure about this, elder brother? She's from the Fang family, a place that's filled to the brim with arrogant people. And this Fang Xiaoru is the worst of them all, as she doesn't care about anyone but herself." Hearing her words, Fang Xiaoru spoke with a frown. "Can you stop bad-mouthing me already, Su Yin? Just because I defeated you more than you defeated me, you don't have to be so mean. And I have already left the Fang family." Wait a second, what did you just say?" Su Yin looked at her with wide eyes. "Why, you left the Fang family? You are lying." Su Yang shook his head and said, "I should have said this when I explained to you earlier, but she left the Fang family in order to join the profound Blossom sect, so she's not lying. Why on earth would you do something like that? Aren't you one of their top geniuses? I cannot believe that the Fang family would allow you to leave so easily, especially after spending so many resources and effort on you. I know that my mother won't let me leave so easily, but I will deal with it when the time comes." Fang Xiaoru said, and she continued with a slightly bashful expression. "After all, I will do anything to be with the sect master." Su Yin's jaw dropped to the floor after hearing her words, as she didn't know that Fang Xiaoru could make such an innocent expression. It was almost like Fang Xiaoru had turned into a different individual. Chapter 559, drenched in yin qi. "Anyway, let's go to your living quarters," Su Yang said to Fang Xiaoru afterward. "Elder brother, you should be careful. Who knows what she or the Fang family might be planning? It could be a trap," Su Yin whispered in his ears before they left the yin-yang pavilion. "I'll keep that in mind," he nodded with a smile. After leaving the yin-yang pavilion, Su Yang followed Fang Xiaoru to her living quarters. Once inside, Su Yang handed her the martial technique that her sublime mountain fist originated from. There are a grand total of 6 martial techniques you can learn from this technique, and the sublime mountain fist is the weakest one amongst all 6 techniques. Of course, this is still only half of the full technique, which has a grand total of 12 martial techniques. Fang Xiaoru stared at the martial technique silently before asking him a moment later, "Are you not worried that I am lying to you? That I might run away with this martial technique? That I might share this technique with the Fang family?" Su Yang smiled and said, "Because I am confident that I can retrieve it no matter who you decide to give it to." "I see." Fang Xiaoru accepted the technique a few moments later. After storing the technique into her storage ring, she turned to look at him and said, "As promised, I will now offer you this body." She began removing her robes on the spot, revealing her slim and beautiful body. Su Yang silently looked at her peerless body, and as expected of Fang Zhelan's younger sister, she was as beautiful as her elder sister. "I have never done this before, so I will need you to lead me," she said a moment later in a low, bashful voice. Su Yang nodded and pulled her into one of the rooms before laying her on the bed. "Ah, this is more embarrassing than I thought it would be," she mumbled, feeling Su Yang's sharp gaze all over her naked body. "Let me loosen you up first," Su Yang said to her before he approached her lower lips with his mouth. "Tilde," Fang Xiaoru moaned loudly when she felt his tongue touch her soft petals. A few seconds later, Yin qi gushed out from her hole, spraying all over Su Yang's face. I'm sorry, it just came out suddenly, she apologized to him afterward. There's no need for an apology. I could have avoided it since I knew it was coming, but I consider it an honor to be soaked in yin qi. Su Yang said as he calmly licked the yin qi on his face with a charming expression. Fang Xiaoru's face flushed with redness after seeing his actions. A moment later, Su Yang removed his robes, showing his handsome body to her. So big! Fang Xiaoru covered her mouth in shock after seeing the large and intimidating rod that was between his legs. I'm going to put it in now, he warned her. Go ahead, she nodded. Su Yang began pushing the tip of his sword into the slit between her legs, tearing her small hole wide open. Fang Xiaoru bit down on her lips to endure the pain, and she could feel her hole burning with passion. Once his entire sword was inside her body, Su Yang began moving his hips, thrusting and rubbing his thick rod against her inner cave. And tilde, and tilde, ah. Fang Xiaoru moaned loudly as Su Yang pounded her tight hole intensely, feeling as though her body was surrounded by fire. It was a heavenly experience that couldn't be described by words. Tilde, ooh. And tilde, it's coming out again. Fang Xiaoru's body trembled violently, and a moment later, another wave of yin qi gushed out from her lower hole. However, Su Yang did not stop moving his hips, and he continued to thrust into her body while she was releasing her yin qi, causing even more yin qi to gush out. I can't stop it from coming out, Fang Xiaoru exclaimed in a nervous voice as her body continued to release yin qi uncontrollably even many moments later. There's no need to be afraid. Let it all out, Su Yang said to her whilst his lower body continuously pounded the tight hole in front of him. In just a few minutes, Fang Xiaoru had climaxed over 10 times, feeling exhausted afterward, almost like she'd just finished a marathon around the world. That was amazing, Fang Xiaoru said to him in a low, panting voice. Su Yang smiled and said, Your squirting is also amazing. I am drenched in your yin qi. Fang Xiaoru's face exploded with redness after hearing his words. Looking at Su Yang's appearance right now, he looked like he just took a bath as his hair and body were soaked in her holy water. Do you want to continue? We have plenty of time today, Su Yang asked her sometime later. She nodded slowly. A few moments later, Su Yang inserted his sword into her cave and they began cultivating again. Over the next few hours, Su Yang and Fang Xiaoru would cultivate with each other numerous times, and Fang Xiaoru had released her yin qi so many times that she'd long lost count. Thank you, Su Yang, for this wonderful experience. I will remember it for the rest of my life, she said to him afterward. Su Yang merely smiled and said, You can find me whenever you feel like cultivating again. I will entertain you if I have the time. I won't be humble then, she said, and she continued. I will definitely catch up to elder sister. Fang Zhelan, Su Yang chuckled. Then you have a lot of catching up to do. Really? She looked at him with a dazed expression. That's to be expected as she has been a disciple here for far longer than you, and we have cultivated almost every day for half a year straight, even doing it multiple times a day, he said. I see. She nodded a moment later, her eyes filled with determination to catch up to Fang Zhelan. Chapter 560 Azure Cloud Sec. A few days have passed since Fang Xiaoru has become a disciple of the Profound Blossom sect. Meanwhile, at the Azure Cloud sect, the Fang family had just arrived at their front doors. We have been expecting you, Matriarch Fang. Gu Guanting greeted her at the entrance with a delightful expression on his face, as he has been waiting for this day ever since he learned that Fang family's genius, Fang Xiaoru, will be joining their sect. However, when he saw the unpleasant expression on Fang Xianju's face, he asked her in a worried voice, Is there something wrong, Matriarch Fang? Let's hope not, she responded a moment later, and she continued, "Anyway, my daughter Fang Xiaoru will be arriving a few days late. I apologize for any inconvenience this may cause to your sect." There's no need to apologize for such a small matter. In fact, we cannot be grateful enough to the Fang family for trusting the Azure Cloud sect enough to let us train Fang Xiaoru, one of the top geniuses in this world. Gu Guanting said with a smile. Even though he said that the Azure Cloud sect will be training Fang Xiaoru, in reality, it was Hong Yuer who will be training her, as there was simply no way that an ordinary sect like the Azure Cloud sect could train a genius like Fang Xiaoru. While they may have finished the regional tournament in second place, and even had been bestowed the title of elite by the Xi family, the Azure Cloud sect is only worth something because of Hong Yuer, who has become the backbone and face of the entire sect. Without Hong Yuer, the Azure Cloud sect is only an above-average sect at best, but they are definitely nothing compared to a real elite sect. Sometime later, Gu Guanting brought the Fang family into the sect and arranged the best living quarters they had available for them. Afterward, the Fang family sealed themselves inside their living quarters for the next few days, until the time limit of 1 week Fang Xianju gave to Fang Xiaoru was up. That ungrateful brat. Fang Xianju angrily stomped the floor, her face filled with rage. After all that we have done for her and all of the resources we gave her, she dares to leave the family for the Profound Blossom sect. Does that little brat not have a heart? What should we do, matriarch? Are we really going to fight with the Profound Blossom sect? One of the elders asked her. Are you stupid? She suddenly roared at the elder who just spoke, and she continued, did you forget who was at the Profound Blossom sect? Zai Wang, the ancestor of the Zai family. Even though he said that he doesn't care about our family dispute, what kind of idiot would believe such a blatant lie? Even if he doesn't intervene in our drama, the reputation and trust our Fang family has built over many decades will be lost the moment we attack them, as the Zai family will definitely side with the Profound Blossom sect. Then, is there truly nothing we can do to make Fang Xiaoru come back to us? The elder asked. Losing Fang Xiaoru, a top genius, would be too big of a loss even for a family as powerful and influential as the Fang family. Fang Xianju sighed and spoke. Now that the Zai family is aware of our presence, it's near impossible to deal with them quietly. It's unfortunate, but we'll have to give up for now. However, I will talk to the patriarch before anything. After waiting for a few more days just in case Fang Xiaoru decided to show up, but to no avail, Fang Xianju decided to reveal the situation to Gu Guanting. I would like to deeply apologize to the Azure Cloud sect and the sect master, as it appears that my foolish child has decided to join the Profound Blossom sect as a last-minute decision. If there's anything I can do to make up for this trouble, the Fang family will not spare any effort. Fang Xiaoru joined the Profound Blossom sect. Gu Guanting stared at her with a gawking expression, almost as though he couldn't believe his ears. Ha ha ha, now this is quite funny. Tang Lingxi suddenly appeared out of the blue while laughing. Hong Yuer. Fang Xianju looked at her with wide eyes as she couldn't comprehend why she was laughing. I didn't expect this situation, but I cannot say that I am surprised, said Tang Lingxi with a smile on her face. Well, at least I won't have to train her now. I should thank Su Yang for taking her off my hands the next time I see him. How did you know that he was behind this? I didn't even mention his name. Fang Xianju asked her with a puzzled expression, as she'd only mentioned about Fang Xiaoru joining the Profound Blossom sect. Tang Lingxi smiled and spoke. Let's just say that this isn't the first time that it has happened. And not the first time. Both Fang Xianju and Gu Guanting looked at her with a dumbfounded expression on their faces. Anyway, you shouldn't worry too much about Fang Xiaoru joining the Profound Blossom sect. In fact, I would even go as far as to say that she has made the right choice by going there instead. Tang Lingxi said, and she continued. She'll learn more over there with Su Yang than she can in this place with me, as he has far more experience in teaching others than me." Hearing Tang Lingxi praise Su Yang, Fang Xianju didn't know how to react and remained standing there with a dazed face. Could it be true that Fang Xiaoru would receive more at the Profound Blossom sect than at the Azure Cloud sect? As for Gu Guanting, he felt like crying after listening to Tang Lingxi badmouth the Azure Cloud sect whilst comparing them to the Profound Blossom sect. "Are you a disciple of the Azure Cloud sect, or are you actually from the Profound Blossom sect?" he cried inwardly. Chapter 561, A Sense of Connection. Do we really have to leave already? Su Yin looked at Bai Lihua with a reluctant expression after being told that it was time for them to return to the Heavenly Swan sect. "We have already stayed in the Profound Blossom sect for longer than we'd anticipated," Bai Lihua said to her. "Although you may not mind it, it's embarrassing for a sect master to stay at another sect for so long. Furthermore, the gathering organized by the mysterious pill master who discovered the Earth Advancement pill will be happening very soon, and I cannot afford to miss such a grand event. You should listen to your sect master and return to the Heavenly Swan sect," Su Yang suddenly said to her, and he continued, "I will also be very busy in the upcoming days, so I will not have any time to play with you." After hearing his words, Su Yin nodded with a saddened expression. "I wanted to stay with you for a little bit longer, but I guess that will have to wait until another time. Are you also going to participate in the alchemy gathering?" Bai Lihua suddenly asked him with interest. "Something like that," he replied with a mysterious smile on his face. "Are you interested in the alchemist behind the Earth Advancement pills, or are you just interested in the pills?" she asked him. "What about you? Does this mysterious alchemist attract your attention?" Bai Lihua smiled and said, "Of course, I am interested in this alchemist that appeared out of thin air and managed to usher the cultivation world into a new era with just a single pill. Are you jealous?" "Maybe just a little bit." Su Yang chuckled. "Wait a second," Bai Lihua suddenly frowned. "I nearly forgot about this because of the regional tournament, but you claim to know the real identity of this mysterious alchemist. And you even promised me that you'll let me meet with him if the Heavenly Swan sect formed an alliance with the Profound Blossom sect. Did I say something like that?" Su Yang immediately pretended to know nothing about it. You shameless little pervert. I bet all that talk about refining the Heavenly Swan sect's formation is also nothing but a lie." Bai Lihua looked at him with a slightly angry expression. Su Yang smiled and said, "Calm down, I won't break my promise. As for meeting the alchemist behind the Earth Advancement pills, I will introduce you to him at the gathering." Really?" Bai Lihua's attitude immediately became cheerful, even feeling the urge to embrace Su Yang tightly from overjoy. He nodded and continued, "However, I will only introduce you to him. Anything after that will require your own efforts." "Don't you worry, I can handle myself," she said. "Then I will see you at the gathering next week," Su Yang said to her. Sometime later, Bai Lihua and Su Yin left the Profound Blossom sect and began making their way back to their own sect. After they left, Su Yang also began his preparations for the gathering next week. Meanwhile, at the medicine hall, Su Liking and her disciples were busy studying the medicine and herb scroll provided to them by Su Yang, which had millions of unique herbs and recipes for medicine written inside. Just where did Su Yang obtain such a profound scroll? "I do not recognize 99% of the things written in here." One of the disciples expressed her awe for the scroll. "Knowing him, it's probably better if we don't try to find out," said another disciple. It was at this moment a figure walked into the medicine hall. Senior Apprentice Sister Sun. The disciples inside greeted Sun Jingjing, who made an unexpected appearance. "Are you looking for medicine today, Senior Apprentice Sister?" one of the disciples asked her. Sun Jingjing shook her head and spoke. "No, I am here for Elder Land today. Master, She's currently in her room upstairs. Do you think I can speak with her for a moment? Sun Jingjing asked. It should be fine since we're not really doing anything at this moment besides studying. Sun Jingjing nodded and began making her way upstairs. I wonder what senior apprentice sister Sun wants with the master, as she rarely comes here. The disciples pondered to themselves. Meanwhile, once she reached Su Liking's room, Sun Jingjing knocked on the door. Come inside. Su Liking's voice resounded from inside the room. A few moments later, Sun Jingjing entered the room. You are. When Su Liking saw Sun Jingjing, she immediately felt a strong sense of connection between them, almost as though they have known each other for a very long time. It was the same for Sun Jingjing. The moment she laid eyes on Su Liking, it felt as though she was looking at a family member, and there was no awkwardness between them despite barely knowing each other. Junior sister Sun Jingjing, right? What brings you here today? Su Liking was the first to break the silence and ask her. No particular reason, really, though I was told by Su Yang to come see you when I have the time, Sun Jingjing said. Su Yang. Su Liking raised her eyebrows, unsure why he would want Sun Jingjing to speak with her. He didn't tell me why I should meet you, but he did say that I will know it when I meet you. Sun Jingjing stared at her with narrowed eyes. A few moments of silence later, Sun Jingjing spoke. Elder Lan, do you perhaps also have this? Sun Jingjing suddenly lifted her robes to show Su Liking her family mark. That mark is. Su Liking's eyes widened with surprise after seeing the family mark on Sun Jingjing's body, as her body also has the exact same mark. Seeing Su Liking's reaction, Sun Jingjing immediately realized the situation they were in, and she mumbled in a dazed voice. I see. So Elder Lan is also part of Su Yang's family. No wonder why he wanted us to meet each other. Chapter 562, Returning to Snowfall City, Elder Lan, you also have Su Yang's family mark, right? Sun Jingjing asked her just to be sure. Su Liking nodded and she spoke. By the way, I took Su Yang's surname, so I am no longer Lan Liking but Su Liking. Unbelievable. I knew there was something special about you when I saw you at the disciple examination. When did your relationship with Su Yang begin? I would never have guessed that the two of you were so intimate with each other if not for the family mark. Sun Jingjing asked with her eyes filled with interest. Where should I start? Su Liking showed a smile, and she began recalling her history with Su Yang, beginning from when he was only an outer court disciple. Since Sun Jingjing also has the family mark, it meant that Su Yang completely trusts her, so she wasn't uncomfortable when telling Sun Jingjing about her relationship with Su Yang, even feeling delightful, as she finally has someone she could talk to freely. Sometime later, after listening to Su Liking's story, Sun Jingjing expressed surprise and admiration. Senior sister, you are actually more daring than I'd expected. To think you have been in a relationship with Su Yang ever since he was only an outer court disciple, even ignoring the sect rules. I don't know if I can do the same if I were in your shoes. Su Liking laughed gracefully and she spoke. Now that I have told you my story, why don't you tell me yours? Sun Jingjing nodded and began telling her own story, and the two of them remained inside the room chatting about their own background and Su Yang for many minutes, acting like they were real sisters. Meanwhile, after he finished his preparations for the gathering, Su Yang went to check on Yan Yan. As expected of someone favored by the heavens, it's only been a few days since I last saw you and your cultivation has already risen by a level. Su Yang praised her ridiculous cultivation speed. This is all because of the cultivation technique you gave me, Master, Yan Yan said, and she continued. It also helps having so many spirit stones. Su Yang nodded and said, you'll reach the heavenly spirit realm by the end of the year at this rate. After checking up on Yan Yan, Su Yang went to see Zhang Ziu Ying, who was also progressing smoothly with the cultivation technique he created for her. Su Yang. This cultivation technique you created is phenomenal. It feels as though I am still cultivating the burning lotus sex technique, but it's countless times faster, Zhang Ziying said. I'm glad you like it. Anyways, I will be away from the sect for a few days, so if you need anything, just look for Liu Lanjai, or you can contact me using the communication jade slip, he said. Zhang Ziying nodded. Sometime later, Su Yang left the Profound Blossom sect and went to look for Wang Xuren at the Burning Lotus sect. Su Yang, you have arrived faster than I'd anticipated, Wang Xuren said after letting him into her house. I want to concoct a few pills before the gathering and all of the ingredients are here. Oh, can I watch? She quickly asked him with her eyes filled with excitement. Do whatever you want, he said before entering the pill room. A few minutes later, Su Yang began concocting pills while Wang Xuren watched him in the corner, looking like a child filled with amusement. It is exciting no matter how many times I watch him concoct pills. There's just something very mesmerizing about his movements, and it feels almost like I am watching a concert. In what felt like a blink of her eyes, Su Yang finished concocting a dozen unique pills. What are you going to do with those pills? She asked him afterward. You will see during the gathering, he said with a mysterious smile. Anyway, are you ready for the gathering? He asked her a moment later. Yes, the location for the gathering has already been set up and I have just been waiting for you. Su Yang nodded and said, Good, then let's go to the location right now. Right now, the gathering isn't till next week, she said. It'll only take a few minutes. Sometime later, Su Yang brought Wang Xuren onto the flying ship for the first time. Where are we going? He asked her. Snowfall City, Wang Xuren quickly responded. Su Yang raised his eyebrows. He didn't think that he'd return to that place so soon. Within the city, there is a very spacious gathering area that can fit thousands of people with ease. It is normally used by the Zai family when they have an assembly with multiple families and sects at once, so it's the perfect place to have our gathering. I have already asked the Zai family for permission to use it, and since Lord Zai will also be at the gathering, he allowed us to use it without any complications. Very well. Hold on tight, Su Yang said to her. Wang Xuren did not think much about it and tightly grabbed onto the flying ship. Whoosh! When the flying ship began moving, Wang Xuren felt as though her soul was left behind by the insanely fast speed they were traveling at, and before she could even calm down, they'd already arrived at Snowfall City. I feel like throwing up. Wang Xuren had trouble standing still afterward, even tripping on the boat when she tried to get off. Are we already at Snowfall City? Just how fast can the flying ship travel? It can travel thousands of miles in the blink of an eye, he said with a smile. Unbelievable. Once Wang Xuren calmed down, the two of them entered the city. Although it cannot compare to the time of the regional tournament when there were millions of people trying to enter the city, there are still a considerable number of people trying to get into the city at this moment. And unlike the previous time, they were able to enter the city without any problems. However, right as they entered the city, Su Yang could hear the sound of a whip cracking, followed by a familiar-sounding voice screaming in Pain Chapter 563 Public Torture Pap. Pap, Ga. This voice belongs to Fu Quan. Although it took her a moment, Wang Xuren recognized his voice. We have plenty of time before the gathering, so why don't we take a detour and see for ourselves how our little friend has been holding up these days? Su Yang said with a grin on his face. Wang Xuren nodded her head, as she was also curious how they were punishing Fu Quan. Thus they began following the direction of the scream, and as they got closer to the screaming, the louder and sharper it got. A few minutes later, they arrived at a spacious open area, and in the middle of this place was a small stage with Fu Quan chained in the air on the stage. Pap! Fu Quan's ear-piercing scream resounded again as another man on the stage whipped his back. Pap! Pap! Su Yang and Wang Xuren watched as the man continuously whipped Fu Quan's back. Seeing the puddle of fresh blood underneath Fu Quan caused Wang Xuren's eyebrows to tremble in shock. I have heard rumors, but I didn't think it would be this bad. Wang Xuren mumbled to herself after witnessing the situation for herself, and she couldn't help but feel pity for Fu Quan. 100 whips for each life he took, huh? Who knows how long it'll take to carry out his punishment? Su Yang spoke with a calm expression on his face, almost as though he wasn't fazed by the brutal scene before him. Pap. Ah. After Fu Quan received 10 whips, the Punisher stopped whipping him to pour a bucket of green liquid on his body. This is medicine. Wang Xuren's sharp noise instantly picked up the herbal aroma from the water splashed onto Fu Quan. A few minutes later, the bloody scars on Fu Quan's back disappeared, almost as though the punishment never took place. Once all of the scars were gone, the Punisher raised the whip in his grasp and began whipping Fu Quan again. Pap. Allah. They healed his injury so they don't kill him by accident before they finish the punishment, huh? Wasting precious medicine on a prisoner just to continue torturing him. The Zai family is adamant about carrying out his entire punishment, even if it'll cost them many resources and effort. Su Yang smiled. After lingering around and watching Fu Quan get tortured for a few more minutes, Wang Xuren spoke with a pale complexion. Let's leave, Su Yang. I don't want to watch this anymore. Su Yang nodded. However, just as he turned around, Fu Quan noticed him and called out to him, SS Su Yang. Is that you, S Su Yang? PP please, help me. I was wrong. I was truly wrong for messing with the P-Profound Blossom sect. Have mercy and kill me already. Fu Quan pleaded for mercy on the stage, causing everybody there to look at Su Yang. Even the Punisher stopped whipping Fu Quan to look at him. It's really Su Yang. I heard that he was the one who stopped Fu Quan from causing massive destruction in the eastern continent. I wonder why he's here. Maybe he's here to rub it in Fu Quan's face, the spectators mumbled to each other. You want me to kill you? Su Yang looked at Fu Quan with a nonchalant expression. Why yes, please. Just kill me already. If I have to endure this for any longer, I will really go insane. Su Yang made a pondering expression, almost as though he was truly thinking about Fu Quan's words, giving Fu Quan some hope. He suddenly turned to look at Wang Xuren and asked her, What do you think? Should I end his suffering and kill him? Wang Xuren looked at him with a face that spoke. Why are you asking me? He's your problem. A moment later, Su Yang returned to looking at Fu Quan, and he spoke with a grin on his face. I would kill you if I could, but unfortunately for the both of us, I would rather not soil my hands with your dirty blood, so you'll have to endure it for a little bit longer. A little bit longer, you say? Fu Quan's face immediately turned red from anger, and he began moving his body erratically and fiercely, almost as though he wanted to break out of his chains and attack Su Yang. Pap. The Punisher whipped Fu Quan to calm him down, but Fu Quan ignored the pain in his body and continued to bare his fangs at Su Yang like a beast. I will kill you, Su Yang. I will fucking kill you. Come over here so I can kill you. Fu Quan began screaming like a madman, even spitting his blood everywhere. However, without his cultivation base, Fu Quan was no different than an ordinary mortal. Let alone attacking Su Yang, he didn't even have the strength to break the steel chains that wrapped around all 4 of his limbs. Ha ha ha! Su Yang burst out laughing at this scene, and he spoke. Hang in there, little friend. If you can persist until I have 9 grandchildren, then I might consider ending your life. How dare you screw with me, Su Yang? I swear I will fucking haunt you even after my death. Good luck with that dying, that is. I'll be cheering for you. Su Yang waved at Fu Quan before leaving the area with a smile on his face. After Su Yang left the area, Fu Quan coughed up a mouthful of blood before losing consciousness. Seeing this, the Punisher decided to end the punishment for the time being to allow Fu Quan to rest. After all, if he continues to torture Fu Quan and accidentally kill him, who knows what the Zai family, or even worse, Su Yang, might do to him. Even though I think the punishment is a little bit too harsh, Fu Quan has to take responsibility for those 36,000 disciples he'd betrayed and killed. Wang Xuren sighed afterward, and she continued, even if he somehow outlives the punishment, I doubt he'll be the same person ever again, as the mental toll for being tortured so long will surely break his mind until nothing is left. Chapter 564, The Day of the Gathering. Halt. You are before the Zai family's assembly hall. Identify yourselves. When Su Yang and Wang Xuren arrived at the location, they were stopped by the guard guarding that place. Wang Xuren stepped forward and showed the guard Zai family's medallion along with a letter from Lord Zai stating their permission to use the assembly hall. Ah, you must be Alchemy Master Wang from the Burning Lotus sect. We have been expecting you. By the way, who is that person behind you? The guard suddenly pointed at Su Yang, who had changed his clothes and covered his face with a mask before arriving at the location. This is my master, the esteemed alchemy master who allowed for this gathering to happen in the first place. Wang Xuren said to the guard, the alchemy master who discovered the Earth Advancement pills. Excuse us for not recognizing you, esteemed senior. The guard bowed deeply to him before allowing them into the assembly hall. After entering the building, Su Yang looked at the spacious area with approval. How many families will attend the gathering? He asked her. The participants have increased to 130 sects and 269 families since I last mentioned it. Furthermore, I have limited each family and sect to only 2 individuals that could participate in the gathering, so we shouldn't see more than a few hundred people. I see. You have done a great job setting this entire time up by yourself. Su Yang suddenly praised her, and he continued, do you have anything you want for your contributions? I'll reward you. Nothing in particular, Wang Xuren responded with a dazed expression as she didn't expect him to reward her. There's no need to be humble, he said. Then, can I learn more about the demon heart pill? I have been interested in it ever since I saw it, she said after pondering for a moment. Is that all you want? The demon heart pill isn't anything impressive. That's enough for me, Wang Xuren nodded. Okay, then I will give you the recipe after we leave this place. Thank you, Su Master, Wang Xuren bowed to him. Meanwhile, at the Zai family, Lord Zai gazed at the subordinate before him and spoke. What? The mysterious alchemy master has arrived at the assembly hall with Wang Xuren. Are you certain it's him? Yes, Your Majesty. Wang Xuren herself introduced him as her master. What about his identity? Do we know anything about him? Lord Zai continued to ask. No, he was wearing a mask and his entire body was wrapped in black robes. It appears that he intends on hiding his identity. I see. Is there anything else I should know about? We have received news that Su Yang from the Profound Blossom sect has appeared in the city. He was also seen entering the city with Wang Xuren, but he has disappeared somewhere afterward. Su Yang, what the hell is that brat doing all the way here? Is he going to participate in the gathering too? Lord Zai mumbled to himself. No, what if he has connections to the mysterious alchemy master? Knowing him, I am almost certain that he's related to the alchemy master in some way. Because of Su Yang's age and background, the thought of Su Yang being the mysterious alchemy master did not even cross Lord Zai's mind. No matter how talented one might be, there's simply no way they can become a master alchemist without many years of experience. Anyway, I am going to the assembly hall to greet this alchemist master, Lord Zai said to his subordinate before leaving the room. Many minutes later, Lord Zai arrived at the assembly hall. Where is the senior alchemist? He asked the guard. Wang Xuren and the senior alchemist have already left the assembly hall, Your Majesty. What? I came here as soon as I heard about it. Do you know where they went? However, the guard shook his head. No, Your Majesty. They left the place without saying a word after a quick look around. Damn, I wanted to take advantage of the situation and create a connection between us before the gathering, but it seems like that won't be possible anymore. Lord Zai cried inwardly. However, Lord Zai did not give up so easily, and proceeded to wait inside the assembly hall just in case the alchemist master returned. But alas, Wang Xuren and Su Yang had long returned to the Burning Lotus sect, making Lord Zai's efforts a vain. Inside Wang Xuren's living quarters, Su Yang handed her the recipe for the demon heart pill and proceeded to train her over the next few days until it was time for the gathering. A few days later, Su Yang and Wang Xuren emerged from the pill room with Wang Xuren fully naked and covered in sweat. If you haven't already, bring your cauldron with you. I'll demonstrate my abilities before we even begin talking, Su Yang said. Wang Xuren nodded before cleaning herself in the bathroom. Once they were prepared to leave, Su Yang brought out the flying ship, and they returned to Snowfall City. However, this time around, Su Yang wore his disguise before leaving the Burning Lotus sect. On the day of the gathering, countless renowned experts from famous families and powerful sects could be seen entering Snowfall City one after another, shocking the ignorant people outside and inside the city. Look, that's the patriarch of the Jiang family from the western region. What is he doing all the way over here? Look behind him. That's the head of the Ling family, who is known for his expertise in medicine. Even the sect leader of the Divine Nature Garden, one of the leading pill masters in this world, is going to Snowfall City, and he even brought his disciple with him. With the gathering of so many renowned experts from all around the world, something big must be happening soon if it hasn't happened already. Thank you for listening to the story on KevinAudio.com Chapter 565, A Gathering of Experts, Senior Zheng. I did not expect to see you here. How long has it been since you left the Divine Nature Garden? It must have been decades since I last saw you. If it isn't Patriarch Kai, has it really been that long since our last meeting? I swear it feels like we met not long ago. Inside the assembly hall, where the seats are quickly being filled with experts, two old men spoke with each other. One of them was known as Senior Zheng, sect master of the Divine Nature Garden, one of few sects in this world that mainly focuses on medicine and pills. The old man sitting beside him was the patriarch of the Kai clan, who is renowned for his medical expertise. These two individuals alone were peak experts that are rarely seen in public, much less the both of them at the same time. And there were many other powerful and influential people like Senior Zheng and Patriarch Kai gathered in the assembly hall. Any single individual in the assembly hall has immense influence in the world who could shake the eastern continent with a single command. And to have so many of them gathered in one spot, it was truly an unprecedented sight. I heard that you'd recently accepted a new disciple. Would that disciple happen to be that young miss by your side? Patriarch Kai looked at the beautiful young lady sitting beside Senior Zheng. Ha ha ha. Indeed, this is my precious disciple. I brought her here hoping that she could learn a thing or two from this mysterious alchemy master who shook the world with the Earth Advancement Pill. Senior Zheng laughed, and he continued while looking at the young girl beside Patriarch Kai. I see that you've also brought someone with you. This is my youngest daughter, Kai Zhuohua. Greet Senior Zheng Zhuohua. Junior Kai greets Senior Zheng. This junior has been wishing to meet Senior ever since she heard of your grand feats in the field of medicine. It is an honor to finally meet you. Ha, what an elegant and polite young lady. The Kai clan is lucky to have someone like you in their family. Senior Zheng laughed loudly. Although Senior Zheng acted oblivious, it was obvious why Patriarch Kai would bring a young beauty to such an important gathering that was unbefitting of her background. If this mysterious alchemy master turns out to be the real deal, it would benefit the Kai clan greatly if the alchemy master adores someone from their family. In fact, there were plenty of other families in the assembly hall that had brought along their daughter to the gathering, all hoping to create a connection with the alchemy master, whose name already rivals most of the top families in the eastern continent. Look over there. That's Matriarch Fang from the four great families. The people there quickly noticed Fang Xianju's immense presence. Of course, one of the four great families would be here. I wouldn't be surprised even if the other three also decide to show up. And just as many there had expected, the other three great families appeared at the assembly hall a little bit later. The Long family that governs the eastern region, the Xiang family that rules the southern region, the Fang family that dominates the western region, and the Su family from the northern region, all four great families were gathered in public. It was an incredibly rare sight even for most of these influential people at the assembly hall who are used to seeing uncommon events. As for the number of people from these families, the Long family only brought one person, their patriarch. The Xiang family brought two individuals from their family, an old woman and a young lady. As for the Fang family, there were two people, Fang Xianju and a handsome middle-aged man, who was her husband and the head of the Fang family. Meanwhile, just like the Long family, only Su Zun from the Su family showed up. However, despite sharing the same title of a great family, none of these families were actually friendly with one another. In fact, they inwardly hated each other and would fight with each other over the smallest thing. Sometime later, another renowned family that caused a commotion with their appearance showed up in the assembly hall. However, this family was not always that popular, as their fame had only skyrocketed after the regional tournament because of one individual. Look, that's the Hong family. And they even brought along Hong Yuer. The people there were surprised by Hong Yuer's unexpected appearance. Very quickly after Hong Yuer's appearance, people gathered around her, hoping to gain some favors or just to make some connections. However, Hong Yuer didn't even glance at them before taking a seat beside Su Zun. "Hello, father-in-law." Hong Yuer greeted Su Zun, dumbfounding him. Meanwhile, her father, Hong Chengchu, had to apologize to the experts and seniors in her stead. "I apologize for my daughter's unruly behavior just now. She's not used to strangers." Hong Chengchu bowed to them. "Ha ha ha, don't worry about it. Geniuses like her should be at least that haughty." The experts laughed it off as they didn't dare to complain before Hong Yuer's presence. "What are you doing here, Hong Yuer? Are you interested in the pills or the alchemy master?" Su Zun asked her with raised eyebrows. Hong Yuer showed a smile and said, "You don't have to worry, father-in-law. Even if he's the most talented alchemy master in this world, I only have eyes for Su Yang. I'm sorry, but it was not my intention to question your loyalty for my son." Su Zun quickly shook his head. Sometime later, a loud voice resounded in the place. "His Majesty, Lord Zai, has arrived." The people in the assembly hall immediately stood up and bowed to Lord Zai, who just entered the room. "Be at ease." Lord Zai waved his hands before taking a seat in his personal chair. Once Lord Zai and all of the expected guests had arrived, Wang Xuren made her appearance with a bright smile on her face. Chapter 566 Live Demonstration. When Wang Xuren made her appearance, the entire assembly hall became silent, and the only thing that could be heard were the beating hearts of these excited experts. "Welcome to the alchemy gathering. I am Wang Xuren, a pill master from the Burning Lotus sect, and I will be assisting my master in today's event." Wang Xuren spoke to the people there with elegance, instantly catching their attention. It was something she'd learned after many years of experience working at the Burning Lotus auction house. "First and foremost, I would like to express our gratitude to everyone here for taking the time to participate in this gathering. I know there are many questions in your mind at this moment, but I request all of you to extend your patience a little bit further, as my master would like to have a word with everyone here." Wang Xuren retrieved her storage ring and placed a cauldron in the middle of the room before stepping to the side. A few moments later, Su Yang, who was still clad in black alchemy robes and wearing a mask, slowly walked onto the stage. That's the alchemy master who discovered the Earth Advancement pill. What an extraordinary aura he exudes. He's even more exalted than I'd expected. All of the experts there began breathing heavily upon feeling Su Yang's immense pressure, feeling as though they were in the presence of an almighty being. And with every step Su Yang took, the people there panted even harder. What a show-off! Hong Yuer smiled to herself after seeing Su Yang's grand appearance. After making his appearance, Su Yang walked straight to the cauldron in the middle of the room and sat before it, not even bothering to glance at the spectators. A moment later, he waved his sleeves, surrounding the cauldron with fierce alchemy flames. What a powerful and beautiful flame! I have never seen someone with such peerless control over their alchemy flames. Just how many years does it take for one to achieve such perfection? The alchemy experts there were instantly mesmerized by the fierce flames that danced around the cauldron as though it was alive, especially Su Yang's ability to control the flames as though they were no different than the fingers on his hands. A few seconds later, when the cauldron was fully heated, Wang Xuren carried a tray of ingredients to Su Yang. What? Does he intend on concocting a pill before so many alchemy masters? Is he not worried that we might steal the recipe for ourselves? The pill masters there were dumbfounded by Su Yang's decision to concoct pills before so many experts, as it was no different than cooking a family recipe while being surrounded by many world-renowned chefs that were watching his every movement. They weren't sure if it was plain stupidity or pure boldness, but either way, these alchemy masters couldn't be happier to see what kind of pill Su Yang's going to create with those ingredients. However, before the alchemy masters could even get a good look at the ingredients that were bundled together like a pile of leaves, Su Yang tossed the entire tray of ingredients into the cauldron. What on earth? The alchemy masters there were shocked speechless by Su Yang's actions, as it was basic knowledge and plain common sense to throw in one ingredient at a time. Unless one could multitask and purify each ingredient individually at once, it was nigh impossible to concoct a pill with such a bizarre method. However, who could possibly achieve such a feat that none of these renowned alchemy masters would even dare to imagine doing? In fact, in the history of pill making, the most ingredients a pill master had ever purified at once was 3 ingredients. Yet Su Yang had tossed in over a dozen ingredients at once without hesitation. If we cannot watch him toss the ingredients inside the cauldron, then all we need to do is look inside the cauldron and watch him purify and mix the ingredients one at a time. The alchemy masters there quickly thought of a solution and immediately concentrated their spiritual sense inside the cauldron. However, by the time these alchemy masters could see the contents inside the cauldron, Su Yang had already purified and mixed all of the ingredients, and it took him less than 10 seconds to achieve such a feat. What? He purified and mixed over a dozen ingredients in only a few seconds. Impossible. When the alchemy masters realized what was going on, they all stood up from their seats with shock and disbelief written all over their faces. Meanwhile, the people that had no experience in alchemy were startled and confused by these alchemy masters' reactions, as they couldn't comprehend what was so impressive about the scene. However, a few moments later, when Su Yang opened the cauldron and retrieved the pill inside, even the people that knew nothing about alchemy were shocked that the pill had been created in such a short time, as all of them had expected it to take at least a few hours. After a long time of silence, someone exclaimed loudly, "Impossible! He concocted a pill in less than a minute. I don't believe it. This must be a setup that they had prepared beforehand." Once somebody expressed their doubt, more alchemy masters began voicing their suspicions, as Su Yang's abilities were simply too shocking and unbelievable in their eyes. Seeing the doubtful crowd and hearing their complaints, Wang Xuren stepped forward and spoke. Although it may be a hard pill to swallow, what you have witnessed just is not an act. I can assure you that my master's abilities are the real deal. However, if you are not satisfied with my words, you can come and inspect the cauldron for yourselves. If there is any evidence of faking the demonstration just now, then we will give you the recipe for the Earth Advancement pills. What? Really? The alchemy masters did not dare to waste time and immediately approached the cauldron after hearing Wang Xuren's words. However, no matter how much time they spent looking, even after searching every nook and cranny of the cauldron, these alchemy masters were unable to find anything suspicious with the cauldron. If the demonstration had been faked, and the pill that came out of the cauldron was prepared beforehand, there should still be the ingredients that he tossed inside. And even if Su Yang burned the ingredients until there was nothing left, there would still be some evidence of that left behind. But alas, the cauldron was completely clean, and there was no sign of the demonstration being faked. Once the alchemy masters realized that fact, they all looked at Su Yang with nervous expressions on their faces, as his abilities had scared them. "We deeply apologize for doubting your abilities, Senior Pill Master." The alchemy masters bowed and apologized to him afterward. Su Yang suddenly raised his hand and spoke in a disguised voice that was deeper than his original voice, with a mysterious feeling to it. "Anyone would doubt something they have never seen before, so I don't blame any of you for doubting my abilities. In fact, if you still doubt my abilities, why don't you inspect the pill that I just concocted? Even a beginner pill master that only knows of the basics should be able to tell when a pill is created." Su Yang extended his hands and showed them the pill resting on his palms. This is the Earth Advancement pill, and it's purer than all of the ones being sold in the market. This quality of pill is higher than any high-quality pills I have seen before. So what does that mean for this pill? What's even higher than a high-quality pill? A perfect quality pill. Despite seeing all of the best pills in this world before, the alchemy masters was having trouble holding back the saliva in their mouth after seeing the flawless quality pill for the first time in their lives. This fresh aroma, there's no doubt that this pill just came out of a cauldron. Even if we do not want to believe it, we cannot ignore pure facts. Senior Zheng, the top alchemy master there, expressed his thoughts. Sometime later, once all of the alchemy masters there had a chance to inspect the pill, Wang Xuren spoke. "Now that everyone is crystal clear about my master's abilities, let's return to our seats and continue with the gathering, shall we?" Although the alchemy masters were reluctant to part with the flawless quality pill, they nodded their heads and eventually returned to their seats. Once everyone had returned to their seats, Su Yang spoke. "I did not demonstrate my abilities just to flaunt my abilities, nor was it to dismiss the abilities of the alchemy masters in this place. Instead, the purpose of my demonstration is to broaden your views of alchemy. What you witness today is only the surface of the ocean known as alchemy, and I have gathered all of you today to hopefully increase your knowledge." Chapter 567, Desperate for the Heaven Transcendence Pill. You want to increase our knowledge in alchemy. The alchemy masters there exchanged glances, seemingly puzzled by his objective, as they do not see any advantage in doing such a thing. "Excuse me for being blunt, but what is your purpose for doing something that does not benefit yourself? What do you really want from all of this?" Lord Zai suddenly spoke with a sharp gaze, asking Su Yang the question in everyone's mind right now. While it may benefit the alchemy masters of this world to gain more knowledge and perhaps even skills, it does not appear to benefit Su Yang. In fact, doing such a thing would only bring him the opposite of benefits. A mysterious smile appeared behind his mask, and he spoke. "You are right. I gain nothing by doing this, nor am I expecting anything in return. I am simply doing as I please because I pity this place." "You pity us? Can you elaborate on that, Senior?" Lord Zai raised his eyebrows in a puzzled manner. Su Yang nodded and spoke in a slow but clear voice. "When I first arrived at the Eastern continent and saw the low quality of the pills here, I was shocked by how inexperienced the alchemy masters are in this place, and as a fellow alchemy master, I felt pity. Therefore, I want to share some of my knowledge, hopefully making this place a better place for all alchemy masters." Wait a minute, when you first arrived here, does this mean that you are from another continent?" Lord Zai asked him with a shocked expression. Because of the Jade Sea that separates each continent and the powerful underwater beings that are always aggressive towards humans, people would rarely risk their lives to travel to another continent. In fact, even Lord Zai, one of the most powerful cultivators in the Eastern continent, hasn't been to another continent, and only his father, Zai Wang, has experienced the other continents. Seeing Lord Zai's surprised expression, Su Yang nodded and spoke. "I am from a place where you people refer as the Holy Central Continent." "What? The Holy Central Continent?" Many experts there immediately stood up from shock, including Lord Zai. "So the Holy Central Continent truly exists. And here I thought it was only a legend. Unbelievable. This explains why his skills are vastly superior compared to us, almost otherworldly." The experts there expressed their disbelief. Are you truly from the Holy Central Continent, Senior?" Lord Zai asked him for confirmation. Su Yang nodded and spoke. "If you don't believe me, why don't I tell you a little bit about the Holy Central Continent?" Su Yang proceeded to recall his experience at the Holy Central Continent, mostly talking about the 3 ancient academies. "In fact, I plan on returning to the Holy Central Continent soon. When that happens, I wouldn't mind bringing along some company." When the people there heard Su Yang's words, they all stared at him in silence before the place exploded into an uproar. Sometime later, Lord Zai spoke. "I will be eternally grateful if I really get to witness the Holy Central Continent before I die, but how do you plan on taking us there? The Jade Sea, it's too risky." "Naturally, if I have a way to get here safely, I would have a way to return safely. However, I don't want to ruin the fun, so I won't answer any more than that," Su Yang responded. A few moments later, he continued. "Anyway, I did not gather all of you here today to talk about the Holy Central Continent." His sharp gaze then swept the place, and he spoke in a serious voice. "The Earth Advancement pill that I'd revealed some time ago was only the beginning and introduction of sorts." He then waved his sleeves, causing 4 pills to appear and float before the spectators, and continued to speak. "I have with me here 4 pills that will make the Earth Advancement pill a humble pill. Starting from your left, we have the Profound Qi Gathering pill, 100 Days pill, Heaven and Earth Restoration pill, and finally, the Heaven Transcendence pill." Su Yang proceeded to explain the effects of each pill. "Consuming the Profound Qi Gathering pill will increase your cultivation speed by 100% for 12 hours. The 100 Days pill will instantly increase your cultivation base as much as you would have cultivated in 100 days, but it can only be consumed once every 4 years. The Heaven and Earth Restoration pill can restore even a peak heavenly spirit realm cultivator's depleted spiritual energy within seconds. And for the last pill, the Heaven Transcendence pill, just like the Earth Advancement pill, it will have a high chance of advancing someone at the peak of the Earth Spirit Realm to the Heavenly Spirit Realm depending on the pill's quality. At the highest quality, it has a 100% success rate, meaning any Earth Spirit Realm cultivators have a chance to reach the Heavenly Spirit Realm regardless of their talent." The entire assembly hall was dead silent, as they were all trying to process and comprehend what Su Yang had just said. Are you saying that if I consume the Heaven Transcendence pill that I can enter the Heavenly Spirit Realm?" the first one to speak with Fang Xianju, who stood up with her gaze fixated on the heaven transcendence pill, her eyes filled with hope. After being stuck in the peak of the earth spirit realm for over 30 years, she was starting to lose hope that she could ever reach the heavenly spirit realm. However, with the appearance of the heavenly transcendence pill, her passion to enter the heavenly spirit realm has re-emerged. Seeing Fang Xianju's enthusiasm, he nodded. That's right. The heavenly transcendence pill in my hands right now happens to be of the highest quality, so you are guaranteed to enter the heavenly spirit realm if you consume it. Would it be possible to sell me that pill, Senior? I have been stuck at the earth spirit realm for many decades. Please. I am willing to pay any price for the pill. Fang Xianju did not mind losing face before so many experts and pleaded Su Yang in a desperate voice. Any price? Su Yang asked her. That's right. I am from the Fang family, one of the 4 great families. You can name any amount. Hearing her confident voice, Su Yang nodded and raised 3 fingers towards her direction. 3 million spirit stones. I will immediately have it prepared for you. Fang Xianju spoke with excitement. However, Su Yang shook his head and spoke. Are you underestimating the value of the heavenly transcendence pill? A single earth advancement pill is already worth hundreds of thousands of spirit stones. And he continued, if I were to allow anyone in this room to buy the pill for 3 million spirit stones, who would be willing? Immediately after Su Yang's question ended, everybody in the room raised their hand. Forget 3 million spirit stones. I am willing to pay even 5 million spirit stones. I can pay 10 million spirit stones for the heavenly transcendence pill. I have also been stuck in the earth spirit realm for over 20 years. 30 million spirit stones. I will pay 30 million spirit stones. Fang Xianju suddenly shouted, dumbfounding the people there, even her own husband, who stared at her with wide eyes. Would that be enough for the heavenly transcendence pill? She asked him with a pained expression, as 30 million spirit stones would hurt even the Fang family's finances. However, she was hellbent on reaching the heavenly spirit realm. Even if she had to sell an arm and leg, she would still buy the heavenly transcendence pill. 30 million spirit stones, huh? Su Yang pretended to ponder for a moment before nodding his head. Very well. I shall part with this pill for 30 million spirit stones. And he continued, and to prove to the others that the pill is real, I will let you consume the pill and break through to the heavenly spirit realm here. Why, you want me to consume the pill right now? Fang Xianju looked at him with surprise. That's right. Don't worry, I will ensure your safety while you cultivate, and it shouldn't take longer than a few minutes anyway. Fang Xianju did not doubt his words and immediately approached him. Before handing the heaven transcendence pill to her, Su Yang spoke in a casual voice. Just in case you plan on avoiding payment afterward, I have what it takes to completely erase the Fang family, great family or not. Fang Xianju trembled at his words, and she showed him a reassuring smile. I wouldn't even dare imagine trying to steal from esteemed senior, especially when there are so many witnesses here. Even if I have to sell my body to pay you the 30 million spirit stones, I swear upon the Fang family that I will repay the debt. Good. Su Yang nodded and handed her the pill. Chapter 568. 3 disciples. Fang Xianju held the heaven transcendence pill with trembling hands, her expression almost as though she was looking at her newborn. After clearing her mind and calming her excitement, Fang Xianju sat in the middle of the room in the lotus position, before she slowly tossed the pill in her mouth. Once the heaven transcendence pill touched her tongue, it melted as though it became water, before sliding down her throat. A refreshing and cool sensation filled Fang Xianju's stomach, and the profound qi in her dantian immediately began to transfer. A few minutes later, a ripple that carried the essence of the heavenly spirit realm swept the room, shocking everybody there. Heavens! The heaven transcendence pill is real. This pill, just like the Earth Advancement pill, it's going to shake the cultivation world, but even more intensively. With the Earth Advancement pill and the Heaven Transcendence pill, reaching the heavenly spirit realm will no longer be just a dream. The cultivation world is going to usher into a new era. After reaching the heavenly spirit realm, Wang Xianju silently stared at her hands, seemingly in a daze. To think that she'd be able to reach the heavenly spirit realm when she'd already lost all hope. It was truly a miracle. Once she'd calmed down, Fang Xianju kowtowed to Su Yang and spoke in a respectful tone. "I cannot thank you enough, Senior. It's not an exaggeration to say that you've saved my life. If I didn't break through into the heavenly spirit realm, I would have died after a few more decades. But now that I have ascended into a new realm, I can live for another 300 years. Su Yang remained nonchalant and spoke. "I hope you didn't forget after breaking through, but I did not give you the Heaven Transcendence pill for free. Those 30 million spirit stones, you have 1 month pay the debt, or I will personally come knocking at your door. I wouldn't dare forget. Even if I have to slave away my body or sell my limbs, I will repay this debt." Su Yang nodded. "Once you have the spirit stones, you can give them to my disciple Wang Xuren. You can find her at the Burning Lotus sect." When Fang Xianju returned to her seat sometime later, Su Yang spoke. "Now that all of you have witnessed for yourselves the effect of the Heaven Transcendence pill, do you have any questions for me?" A few individuals immediately raised their hands. "If you don't mind me asking, where on earth did you discover such a divine pill? Or does this pill already exist in the holy central continent?" Su Yang shook his head and said, "As of this moment, the Heaven Transcendence pill only exists in the eastern continent. Even the holy central continent does not know of its existence. As for where I obtained the recipe for this pill, let's just say that I have been to places that you cannot even comprehend." Sometime later, Lord Zai asked him, "If there are pills that can help one reach the earth spirit realm and the heavenly spirit realm, do you think there exists a pill that has the effect to help one reach the sovereign spirit realm?" The entire room waited for Su Yang's response anxiously, and after a long moment of silence, Su Yang finally spoke. "Perhaps. Of course, such a pill exists. However, that kind of pill is only available in the 4 divine heavens. The ingredients required to concoct that pill exceed tens of thousands of years old, something that couldn't possibly exist in a world that's less than 10,000 years old." After spending many minutes answering questions, Su Yang moved on to the next topic. "Now that I have answered all of your questions, allow me to talk about the main subject." He swept the crowd with a sharp gaze and he spoke. "I am going to accept 3 disciples from this continent, and I am going to teach them how to concoct the Earth Advancement pill and all of the pills I have shared today." "What?" The people there expressed shock upon hearing his words. "I don't care how old you are, nor do I care about your gender. I will be hosting an exam weeks from now, and if you pass my exam, I shall accept you as my disciple. Do you have any questions?" Almost everybody in the assembly hall raised their hands. "Senior, who will be allowed to take your exam?" "Anyone," Su Yang quickly responded. "I will give everyone here a chance to take the exam, and if you know someone who has talent in alchemy, you can also bring them to take the exam. However, since I do not want to spend too much time with this, I will limit every family and sect here to 2 participants." The place immediately became filled with noise. "Who do you think we should send from our family? But nobody in the family knows anything about alchemy. Didn't you hear, Senior? We are not limited to people from our own family. As long as we bring 2 people, no matter where they are from, they can take the exam. Disciple Yang should definitely have one of those 2 spots, as his knowledge with alchemy is definitely the best among the disciples. Although I don't doubt that he's the best among the disciples, there are many sect elders that are better than him. Age is not limited in the exam, so we should bring the best within the sect. What do you think, my daughter? Would you like to partake in the exam with me? Even though you are the youngest, your talents in alchemy are the best the Kai family has ever seen. I would be honored to have a chance to become Senior's disciple. Then it's decided. Master, would you become that Senior's disciple if you had the chance? Even though I am regarded as the #1 alchemist in the Eastern continent, I am no different than a baby in the Senior's eyes. And despite my age, I will gladly become a disciple again if my master is someone like the Senior. What about you? I won't blame you if you want to leave me and become Senior's disciple instead. After all, I want what's best for you. I will follow Master wherever he goes. Very well. Then let us both partake in the exam. While everyone was in a commotion, Wang Xuren said to Su Yang in a joking voice, "Am I not enough to satisfy you, Master?" Su Yang smiled behind his mask and spoke, "You are a very diligent and talented disciple, but I doubt you'll have any time to practice your own techniques once the news of these pills starts spreading outside of this place. Therefore, I am going to find a few more disciples who will help you out. Furthermore, even if I leave this world, there will be a few people who can continue what I started here." Sometime later, Su Yang said to the crowd, "Although it was short, that's all I have for you today. In 2 weeks, I will return to this place for the exam." Very quickly, the people began to leave the assembly hall, as they were in a hurry to find 2 participants for the exam, especially those that know very little about alchemy. Sometime later, only Lord Zai remained in the assembly hall. He approached Su Yang and bowed to him. "You have opened my eyes today, Senior. It appears that I am still a frog in a well despite my status in the Eastern continent. However, I still have one question for the Senior. How should I address you?" "My surname is Zio." Su Yang responded with a mysterious smile behind his mask. "Allow me to thank you again, Senior Zio, for assisting the Eastern continent." Lord Zai bowed to him again. And he continued, "If you have the time, I would like to invite you to dinner back at my house. Perhaps we could talk more about your plans at that time." However, Su Yang shook his head and spoke in a calm voice. "I will apologize in advance as my words may offend you, but I would rather not show preferences for one family over the others, regardless of your stature in this place, as that would be unfair to the others. If you want to talk with me on a more personal level, then you will have to pass my exam and become my disciple." "I see. I will also apologize for putting Senior Zio on the spot. However, if you ever change your mind, the Zai family will always have our doors open for you." Although Lord Zai felt disappointed by the results, he did not dare to complain, as he was afraid of offending this mysterious Senior, who did not hesitate to threaten the Fang family in front of everyone, including the Zai family, ruler of the Eastern Continent. Chapter 569 Patience. After everyone had left the assembly hall besides Su Yang and Wang Xuren, they returned to the Burning Lotus sect to prepare for the alchemy examination in 2 weeks. "What kind of exam are you going to make them take? Will it be something like the Profound Blossom sect's disciple assessment?" Wang Xuren asked him. "Not really. While talent is an important factor in alchemy, even more important is their dedication and ability to remember things. Without dedication, even if you have the world's finest talent, you won't be able to concoct pills properly. And there are thousands of pill recipes that exist in this world, with the number of ingredients 100 times more than recipes itself. Without a good memory, how will you memorize what ingredients are needed for the pills, much less how to concoct the pill? While some pills may require similar ingredients, the way to concoct each pill is unique and vastly different. Therefore, I am going to test their ability to memorize pill recipes and have them undergo a test of patience." "Testing their patience?" Wang Xuren raised her eyebrows. "While I can see how the first exam will go about, I cannot imagine how you plan on testing their patience." "It's simple, really." Su Yang suddenly entered the pill room and began concocting a pill. A few minutes later, he returned to Wang Xuren's side and showed her a pebble-sized pill. "What kind of pill is this?" she asked him with her eyes flickering with interest and excitement. Su Yang merely smiled and said, "Take a seat and close your eyes. I'll let you experience it for yourself." Wang Xuren narrowed her eyes at him with a suspicious gaze. She could feel an ominous feeling coming from the smile on Su Yang's face, but she was too curious about the pill to refuse. A moment later, she sat on the floor in the lotus position and closed her eyes. Seeing this, Su Yang crushed the purple pill between his fingers and scattered the powder on Wang Xuren's face. After waiting for many minutes without anything happening, Wang Xuren spoke. "What is taking you so long, Su Yang?" However, nobody responded to her. "Su Yang." Wang Xuren slowly opened her eyes, and it was at that moment she realized why Su Yang did not respond to her. Where am I?" Wang Xuren had opened her eyes to find out that she was no longer inside her house, or the burning lotus sect for that matter. Instead, she had been transported onto a mountain cliff in the middle of nowhere with mountains that were taller than even the clouds in all directions. How did she suddenly get transported to this place without realizing it? Where the hell is this location? Ah, this must be an illusion. Wang Xuren shook her head with a smile on her face. "You almost got me, Su Yang. Even though this is clearly an illusion caused by the pill, I must admit, it's unbelievably realistic. If I didn't know about the pill, I would have definitely been fooled by it." Wang Xuren decided to sit around until the effect of the pill wears off or when Su Yang pulls her out of the illusion. However, after waiting for many hours, she remained in the exact same place, surrounded by mountains and clouds. But despite this, Wang Xuren remained calm as she was confident that she was inside an illusion. 10 hours, 20 hours, 3 days, 7 days. An entire week had passed by in the blink of an eye, yet Wang Xuren did not wake up from the illusion. "Haha, I see what you are trying to do, Su Yang." A smile appeared on her face when she realized what was happening. "You are trying to test my patience, huh? Very well. I shall wait until you are satisfied." Thus, Wang Xuren continued to sit on the mountain cliff, patiently waiting for the test to be over. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Wang Xuren has sat in the same position for a month by now, but the effects of the pills still remain as she could see the mountain range. "I don't know how long have passed since I arrived here, but it should be weeks. How long are you going to keep me here, Su Yang?" Wang Xuren said out loud, and her voice echoed into the distance. Hearing no response, Wang Xuren stood up for the first time and sighed. "Since it's like this, I might as well look around. Maybe I'll leave the illusion if I wander far enough." With that in mind, Wang Xuren left the mountain cliff and began traveling around the mountain range. The surroundings were extremely silent, almost like she was the only living being in this world. However, that was to be expected, as she was inside an illusion created by the purple pill. Even though I have already expressed my admiration, the pill's ability to create such a realistic illusion is too baffling, even becoming more and more realistic the longer I remain in this place. Wang Xuren proceeded to traverse the mountain range, but after spending a few more days in the illusion, she realized that she had been walking in the same area no matter which direction she walked or how far she walked because, in the end, she would return to the same mountain cliff from the beginning. Is this really an illusion? Wang Xuren began to doubt herself after spending a few more weeks in the place. I should have realized this when I first arrived in this place, but I have overlooked it. Why is there spiritual energy in an illusion? Is it even possible to create real spiritual energy inside an illusion? Wang Xuren started to cultivate to test the spiritual energy, and as she'd expected, she was able to cultivate normally with the profound qi in this place despite being in an illusion, which is the beginning of her doubts for this place. Well, since I can cultivate the spiritual energy in this place, it'll make waiting much easier. Thus, Wang Xuren returned to the mountain cliff where the spiritual energy was the densest, and she began cultivating there. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. 6 months, 1 year in the blink of an eye. Over an entire year had passed since Wang Xuren was transported to this mountain range. Yet there was no sign of her returning to her room in the burning lotus sect any time soon. 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Wang Xuren has increased her cultivation base by 2 whole levels within these 2 years, but without being able to concoct any pills for so long, she was beginning to miss the smell of medicine and sweating until her robes were soaked from concocting pills. Su Yang, are you done testing me? I am tired of seeing this same scenery for so many years. Please, just let me leave already. Wang Xuren shouted at the top of her lungs towards the heavens. However, there was no response from Su Yang no matter how long she waited. I guess it's not easy trying to satisfy an immortal who has lived for thousands of years, she sighed afterward. If she thought about it, she was incredibly lucky to have an immortal like Su Yang lecturing her. I may not be a real disciple in his eyes right now, but I will prove to him that I have the capabilities to become one. Wang Xuren resolved herself to wait for as long as she could possibly endure. 15 years. 30 years, 50 years, 100 years. After spending 100 years in the same place, Wang Xuren was beginning to go crazy. When she first entered this place, she was only at Earth Spirit Realm. But after spending 100 years in cultivation, she has ascended to the peak of the Earth Spirit Realm, being only a step away from the Heavenly Spirit Realm. I can feel it. I should be entering the Heavenly Spirit Realm in a few days. A few days of preparation later, Wang Xuren began her ascension to the Heavenly Spirit Realm. Many hours later, she could feel her dantian expanding many folds, and her spiritual energy was growing denser and purer. I did it. I have finally reached the Heavenly Spirit Realm, Wang Xuren shouted in excitement as she opened her eyes. However, it was at that moment she realized that she was no longer in the mountain range, and Su Yang's handsome face could be seen standing a few meters away from her. Su Yang, she mumbled in a dazed voice, seemingly in disbelief. Congratulations, you have managed to endure 100 years of solitude without your mind breaking. Su Yang said to her with a smile, and he continued, even though you have experienced 100 years with the pill's effect, in reality, only 10 hours have passed since you closed your eyes. Wang Xuren stared at him with wide eyes, speechless from shock. Chapter 570 Everlasting Time Pill, WW. What do you mean only 10 hours have passed? Wang Xuren asked him in a dumbfounded voice. The pill I made you experience is called the Everlasting Time Pill. Anyone affected by the pill will be entrapped within their own consciousness while feeling as though they are still in reality. It's akin to having a really long dream, but your mind is awake the entire time. From where I am from, the everlasting time pill is commonly used on prisoners as a form of punishment. Of course, there are other uses as well, such as testing the mental fortitude of an individual. Su Yang explained to her. So, while you may have lived for 100 years inside your mind, in reality, only 10 hours have passed since the beginning. After a long moment of silence, Wang Xuren mumbled in a low voice. Then, all of my achievements were just in my head, a mere dream. I did not really live 100 years, and all the effort I'd put into reaching the Heavenly Spirit Realm was all fake. Once she realized the truth, tears began flowing down her face, and she spoke in a trembling voice. Even though it was just a test, this was very cruel of you, Su Yang. What did I do to deserve this? Seeing her reaction and watching tears flow down her beautiful face, Su Yang felt a little bit guilty for testing her. However, it was not as though he wanted to punish her or make her cry. I'm sorry for making you endure such a trial without any warning, but I truly believe that you'd benefit greatly from it. If you'd known about it in advance, then it would have been pointless. What do you mean I have benefited from this? Wang Xuren slowly wiped her tears and asked him. Although what you have experienced in your mind was fake, it is also real simultaneously, he said to her. Go ahead and try to cultivate. Right now. Seeing Su Yang nod his head, Wang Xuren immediately began cultivating, and to her surprise, it was much easier and natural than before, almost as though she'd been doing this for many decades. Because of the everlasting time pill, your mental strength has increased tremendously, and the time you'd spent cultivating inside your mind, all of that experience you'd gathered during that time is real. Therefore, you've essentially lived for 100 years in the last 10 hours, but your physical body remains unchanged. Won't that make the everlasting time pill an incredibly powerful and priceless treasure? Wang Xuren expressed shock. Depending on how you use it, yes, it can become a powerful treasure for training others. However, most of the time, that is not the case, because only extremely skillful alchemists are able to concoct everlasting time pills that will have an effect of over 100 years. In fact, most alchemists would only be able to make the pill last for a few years at most. Furthermore, you cannot consume this pill very often, or it'll greatly burden your mind, even breaking it at times. The most one can consume the everlasting time pill is once every 1,000 years. Therefore, it's mostly used to torture the minds of criminals from where I'm from. Wang Xuren stared at him with wide eyes, and she spoke with an admiring tone. I knew you were someone impressive, but to think you would be this crazy. Su Yang laughed at her words and said, That's only natural, as I was personally trained by the alchemy god. However, compared to the alchemy god, my skills are still too green. For example, I can create 10,000 years everlasting time pills at most, whilst the alchemy god can concoct 100,000 years everlasting time pills. 100,000 years everlasting time pill. Does this mean you would live for 100,000 years inside your mind? Did you consume such a pill in your previous life by any chance? Wang Xuren's eyes widened with disbelief. Su Yang nodded. In fact, I have consumed a few of them before. Wang Xuren stared at him silently for a good minute before asking him in a low voice, How old are you exactly? Asking immortals with a young appearance about their real age is akin to asking any woman about their age. It's quite impolite. Su Yang responded with a smile. Wang Xuren was speechless. Do immortals really find that kind of thing disrespectful? Anyway, do you have any more questions regarding the everlasting time pill? Well, it's not exactly about the pill itself, but it's definitely alchemy related, she spoke with a hesitant gaze. What is it? If I followed you back to your world, do you think I would be able to meet this alchemy god someday? If this person claims to be the alchemy god, he must be the best alchemy master in the world, right? I would like to see for myself just what the peak of alchemy looks like for once before I die. Su Yang looked at her with a surprised face, before laughing out loud a moment later. Ha ha ha. If you so desperately want to meet the alchemy god that you'd be willing to leave this world, then I am willing to personally set up a meeting for you. And just so you know, the alchemy god is not a he but a she. What? Wang Xuren explained loudly, her expression filled with shock. The alchemy god is a woman. Su Yang nodded with a smile and said, Not only is she a woman, but she's also an incredibly beautiful one at that. Are you and the alchemy god by any chance? Wang Xuren asked him in a trembling voice. A mysterious smile appeared on Su Yang's face, and she responded in a calm voice, Who knows? If you are that interested, you should ask the alchemy god about it yourself. I wouldn't dare. She quickly shook her head, causing Su Yang to burst out laughing at her response. Well, you still have 2 years to decide whether you truly want to follow me or remain in this world. If you decide to follow me, you will not only be able to concoct pills you've never even heard of before, but you'll also experience a whole new world of alchemy. Wang Xuren swallowed nervously, feeling extremely tempted by his words. I will let you know when I have come to a decision, she said to him. Sometime later, Su Yang began training Wang Xuren again. However, because it has been over 100 years since she last experienced pill making, Wang Xuren's movements were awkward and stiff. With that being said, because of the everlasting time pill, her mental strength has increased significantly, allowing her to relearn everything at an extreme rate, even surpassing her old self just a few days later. What do you think? Are you still angry at me for testing you? Su Yang asked her with a smile on his face afterward. Do you even need to ask that question? Even though it was cruel of you to make me experience 100 years of solitude, I understand why you did it. I was feeling more disheartened than angry that my 100 years of effort had turned out to be a mere dream. However, after seeing the benefits, I am beginning to feel grateful instead. It's almost like I've been reborn with better talent than previously. Perhaps my efforts weren't wasted after all. Wang Xuren spoke as she stared at her hands with a dazed gaze and a gentle smile on her face. That's good to hear. And now that you are comfortable with alchemy again, it's time to resume your special training, Su Yang said. Wang Xuren looked at him with a puzzled expression for a moment before she finally recalled what this special training was. Even though it hasn't been that long in reality, I feel like it has been forever since you last touched my body. Wang Xuren spoke before loosening her robes. As an apology for making you go through that experience, I'll satisfy your body with 100 years' worth of pleasure, Su Yang said before retrieving a bed from his storage ring and tossing it on the floor. Oh, 100 years' worth of pleasure. I will die from that, Wang Xuren exclaimed with a terrified expression. Ha ha ha. Don't worry, your mental strength has increased enough to endure it. A few moments later, Su Yang enveloped Wang Xuren in his embrace and began pounding his shaft into her body, causing her large and perky mountains to jiggle vigorously. On. After experiencing 100 years without feeling any pleasure, Wang Xuren's body trembled with delight she has never felt before, almost as though her body was deprived of pleasure, and her lower lips continuously gushed with yin qi as a response, letting Su Yang know of her satisfaction. Tilde. On. Tilde. And for the entire week, Su Yang and Wang Xuren passionately cultivated with each other in the pill room, relieving Wang Xuren of all her stress from her 100 years of solitude and loneliness. Chapter 571 Alchemy Examination. 2 weeks have passed in the blink of an eye, and on the day of the alchemy examination, Wang Xuren wobbled out of her room in a drunk-looking manner, feeling sore all over her body. Su Yang walked out afterward and he spoke to her. If you don't want to be at the assembly hall, you can stay here and rest. Wang Xuren quickly shook her head and said, No, I want to be there because I also want to participate in your alchemy exam. You shouldn't force yourself too much. After all, you can barely even walk in a straight line. Su Yang shook his head with a smile on his face. Whose fault do you think it is that I am in such a state? Wang Xuren looked at him with a face of disbelief. If you didn't do me so intensively, I wouldn't be like this. Su Yang burst out laughing and said, And who was the one that kept screaming, do me harder? Wang Xuren's face flushed with redness after hearing his words, and she mumbled, How hateful. Sometime later, the two of them left the Burning Lotus sect and headed to the assembly hall, where hundreds of people had already gathered and were waiting for them. It's the senior. This junior greets the senior. Welcome back, senior. The people there immediately greeted him with respectful bows. Once everyone had gathered at the assembly hall, Su Yang spoke. Do you have any questions before I start the exam? Someone raised their hand and asked him, How many tests will there be in total? There will be 3 simple tests you have to pass in order to become my disciple. What happens if more than 3 people here pass the test? Then we will have a contest between the winners until only the 3 most talented remains. Will we be required to concoct a pill for this examination? No, I don't have the patience for that. After answering everybody's question, Su Yang began the alchemy exam. For the first test, I will be testing the strength of your memorization. Su Yang suddenly waved his sleeves, causing hundreds of scrolls to fly towards the participants. There will also be 2 parts for the first test. There are 10,000 ingredients listed in each scroll with 10 different scrolls available, making the grand total 100,000 ingredients. And for the first part of the test, you have 10 hours to memorize as many ingredients as you possibly can. In order to continue to the second test, you will have to memorize at least 10,000 ingredients. 10,000 ingredients in 10 hours. At least half of the room was shocked speechless by the difficulty of the first exam. It would be a miracle if they can even memorize 1,000 ingredients in 10 hours, much less 10,000. As for the alchemy experts in the room, they all showed confident expressions on their faces, as they have already memorized tens of thousands of ingredients throughout their many years of their life as an alchemy master. It was almost like giving a master chef a guidebook on how to cook basic dishes. However, as soon as the test began, these alchemy experts quickly realized that they were wrong about the test, and that they did not know the majority of the ingredients listed on the scrolls, and their confidence quickly shrunk until there was nothing left. What the hell is going on? I have memorized over 50,000 ingredients, and I can recall each of them as though they are written on the back of my hand, yet I do not recognize any of these ingredients. Just how is this possible? Are these ingredients that only exist in the holy central continent? He got me. I should have known that it wouldn't be this easy. Senior Zheng, one of the most renowned alchemy masters in the eastern continent, cried inwardly as he was shocked speechless by so many new ingredients that he has never even heard of. Wang Xuren was no different. Despite being taught by Su Yang, she has never seen most of the ingredients on the scroll before. However, she did not dare to waste too much time thinking about it and purely focused on memorizing the names of these ingredients. 10 hours later, Su Yang clapped his hands and said, "It's been 10 hours. Stop what you are doing and look at me, or I will fail you on the spot." Immediately, the people there closed the scrolls and looked at him. Unless one was cultivating, 10 hours would normally feel like a long time. But for these participants, these past 10 hours felt like 10 minutes. "What do you think of the first test?" Su Yang asked them afterward. "Senior, are these ingredients from the holy central continent?" One of them asked him. "Something like that," he nodded. And he continued, "You may be thinking that I am cheating by doing this, but if I didn't do this, it wouldn't be fair to those without much knowledge or experience in alchemy, giving the alchemy masters here that has decades of experience all the advantage. And at the end of the day, I do not care about your current knowledge and abilities. I only seek the ones with the most potential, as that is the purpose of these tests." Sometime later, Su Yang handed out a blank scroll to every individual in the room and explained to them the second part of the test. "For the next part, I will have you recall as many ingredients as you possibly can from the first part of the test into the scroll I just handed you. All you need to do is think about the ingredients in your mind while touching the scroll, and the scroll will automatically count for you. Just in case you are thinking of cheating by recalling ingredients that did not exist in the 100,000 ingredients I gave you, the scrolls won't count them, but you are free to try. And for this part of the test, you will have 2 hours to remember as many ingredients as you can." After saying those words, Su Yang began the timer. The place instantly turned dead silent, and everybody in the room besides Su Yang had their eyes closed to help their focus. 2 hours later, Su Yang suddenly clapped his hands again, startling everybody in the room. Open your scrolls and see for yourself the results. If your number is less than 10,000, you have failed the exam, and I will have to ask you to leave this place. The people there began opening the scroll with trembling hands. When they saw their results, more than half of the room showed a devastated expression, whilst the others showed relief on their faces. In just one exam, more than half of the participants have failed, losing their chance to become Su Yang's disciple. Sometime later, once those who have failed left the assembly hall, Su Yang said to the remaining participants, "Who here has a number over 20,000? A few moments later, 30 people raised their hands. Su Yang nodded and said, "For every 1,000 more ingredients you remember, you will be given 1 point. At the end of the exam, the 3 people with the most points will become my disciple." And then he continued, "And for the individual with the best results for each test, you will be given an extra 10 points. So, which of you have the highest number?" A moment later, Su Zun, his father, revealed his scroll to everyone and spoke, "I have 38,170. Being one of the few cultivators that have reached the heavenly spirit realm, Su Zun's mental strength would obviously be much stronger than most people, allowing him to remember things faster. "Anyone with better results?" Su Yang asked the crowd. A second later, Bai Lihua raised her hand and said, 45,548. As expected of the sect leader of an elite sect, the people there silently praised Bai Lihua. Not only is she a beauty that can devastate an entire country, but she also happens to be one of the most talented individuals within her generation, by reaching the heavenly spirit realm at a very young age. Even now, she is the youngest one amongst all of the heavenly spirit realm cultivators in the eastern continent, not including Su Yang and Hong Yuer. "You are Bai Lihua, right?" Su Yang suddenly asked her. "This humble one is indeed called Bai Lihua," she responded in a slightly surprised voice, as she didn't expect this senior to recognize her. "I have heard good things about you from my little friend Su Yang. Whether you pass this exam or not, you can stay here until the exam is done so we can talk more privately." Hearing Su Yang's words, Bai Lihua's expression bloomed with joy, and she quickly bowed to him. "Thank you, senior, for sparing your precious time for this humble one. That Su Yang really helped me meet the alchemy master. I must thank him properly the next time I see him." Bai Lihua thought to herself sometime later. Chapter 572 Perfect Score. What? Did the senior just call Su Yang his friend? Is it the same Su Yang from the Profound Blossom sect, the #1 genius who reached the heavenly spirit realm at the age of 17? When the people there heard Su Yang's words, they immediately began whispering among themselves. Although it was quite surprising at first that Su Yang would have connections to the alchemy master, after they thought about it for a moment, it made sense for him to know someone from the holy central continent, as that would explain his tremendous growth and talent. "I knew it. That Su Yang really has connections to the alchemy master, but why haven't I seen him yet? Isn't he also here in the city? Or did he come here for another matter?" Lord Zai pondered with a serious expression. "It seems like we have sidetracked for a moment here. Anyway, does anyone here have a better result?" Su Yang said loudly. A moment later, an old man revealed his scroll and spoke, 75,651. "That's Senior Zheng, one of the most renowned alchemy masters in the eastern continent." The people there immediately recognized Senior Zheng, who has been a famous alchemy master for over a century now. "So you are the best in the eastern continent?" Su Yang asked him in a calm voice. "This old man wouldn't dare to claim himself as the best alchemy master before your excellence, Senior." Senior Zheng stood up and bowed to him with deep respect. "However, I have studied alchemy for over 200 years now, so I am fairly confident in my abilities." Su Yang nodded before continuing, "Anyone else with a higher result?" A moment later, a beautiful young lady raised her hand, and she showed him the number recorded in her scroll. 87,979. Ho, not bad for someone your age, young lady. What's your name? Su Yang asked her. The young lady calmly stood up and bowed to him before speaking. This junior is called Lu Yixia, and I am currently Senior Zheng's disciple. As expected of Senior Zheng's disciple, she seems more talented than her own master. If I recall correctly, she's only 25 years old, right? And she's only at the profound spirit realm. Although having a higher cultivation base may improve your memorization, talented people like her are born with excellent memories. It's no wonder why Senior Zheng accepted her as his disciple. She'll definitely obtain one of those 3 spots, I bet. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. While she indeed has good memories, we don't know how she'll do in the next 2 tests. I do not care if you already have a master or not. As long as you have what it takes and you are willing to become my disciple, I will accept you under my tutelage, Su Yang said to her. A moment later, he turned to look at Wang Xuren and asked her, "What's your result?" A confident smile appeared on Wang Xuren's face, and she revealed her results. 93,211. How dare you look so smug with such a pathetic result? I have expected a perfect score from you. Looks like I have been going easy on your training lately, huh? Don't worry, once this is over, I will properly educate you, Su Yang said to her. The smile on Wang Xuren's face immediately disappeared, and she stared at him with wide eyes filled with disbelief. Even the other people there looked at her with pity on their expressions, with a few of them even laughing at her misfortune inwardly. Is this it? Did nobody here obtain a perfect score? Su Yang asked them a moment later. Suddenly, another individual raised her hand. Here. The beautiful young lady who just spoke raised her scroll into the air, showing everyone in the room the perfect score of 100,000 written on it. That's Hong Yuer, as expected of the number 2 genius of the Eastern continent. If anyone should become the senior's disciple, it should be someone like her. Su Yang looked at her with narrowed eyes and spoke to her through spiritual sense. What are you trying to do? What will you gain by becoming my disciple when you are already my wife? Tang Lingxi smiled and responded via spiritual sense. Don't worry, I don't really plan to lower my status from wife to disciple. I'm just trying to have so fun before I return to my original body. Su Yang sighed inwardly after hearing her reason, and he spoke loudly. Because Hong Yuer and Wang Xuren are my disciples already, I won't be counting their scores. Therefore, I will give the extra 10 points to Luo Yixia for having the best results. What? Hong Yuer is already his disciple. When the people there heard this news, they stared at her with wide eyes. Even Wang Xuren couldn't help but turn around to look at her with a surprised look. When did Su Yang accept her as a disciple? I thought I was the only one, she cried inwardly, feeling as though her title as disciple was no longer as impressive. Sometime later, Su Yang continued with the exam. For the first test, I tested your memories. Now, for the second test, I will be testing your sense of smell, he said to them. As an alchemist, it is incredibly important to have a good sense of smell, as there exist herbs that cannot be tracked or sensed by spiritual energy but can be found using your nose. It is also important that you can tell apart ingredients by their smells. If you have a good nose, with some training, you will even be able to smell the ingredients of a pill you have never seen before. The people there looked at him with wide eyes. One can tell the ingredients of a pill they have never seen before just by smelling it. That sounded a bit unrealistic, as they have never heard of someone with such an ability before. Unlike Wang Xuren, who has witnessed Su Yang achieve this before, it was simply too hard to believe such a claim. Chapter 573 Second Test. Seeing the doubt on everyone's faces, Su Yang sighed inwardly before speaking out loud. Who here has a pill on them right now? It does not matter what kind of pill it is. The alchemy masters quickly realized what he was trying to do with a pill. I have one, Senior. Senior Zheng suddenly raised his hand and spoke. However, it's not your regular pill, as it was created when I was experimenting on a new pill recipe, and it's not completed yet, so nobody in this world besides myself should know its ingredients. That's perfect. Let me see it for a moment, Su Yang casually said. Senior Zheng nodded and handed him the pill without any hesitation. Because when an alchemy master tries to invent a new pill recipe, they would normally keep it a secret until the pill is completed, much less share the pill with someone else, as that would be letting people eat an unfinished dish as a cook. Once the pill was in his hands, Su Yang placed it right before his nose and gave it a deep but slow sniff. Su Yang closed his eyes to ponder. A few moments later, he began listing out the ingredients used to create this unknown pill. 3 grams of spirit grass, 4 grams of strengthening powder, a single blade of harmony leaf. By the time Su Yang finished listing out all of the ingredients, Senior Zheng's face was filled with shock and disbelief. Amazing. I did not believe it at first, but after witnessing it with my own eyes, I cannot do anything but believe it. You actually listed out every ingredient perfectly. Senior Zheng exclaimed a moment later, causing the other alchemy masters to take deep breaths. Su Yang then said, "Calm down, I am not finished yet." After saying those few words, Su Yang took another sniff at the pill before speaking. This pill was created 33 days ago, and it came out of the cauldron sometime in the late afternoon. Senior Zheng's jaw dropped from his mouth after hearing his words, but Su Yang was not done speaking, and he continued, "Judging from the ingredients you'd used to concoct this pill, I can tell that you were trying to create something that will help with your illness down there. I suggest adding 4 drops of blood from an earth turtle and 2 more grams of strengthened powder. That should fix your sword temporarily." Senior Zheng nearly fell off his seat after hearing Su Yang's words, the expression on his face looking as though he'd just seen the ghost of his ancestors. Meanwhile, the other people in the room looked at Senior Zheng whilst trying their hardest to resist their urges to burst out laughing. Even his own disciple, Luo Yixiao, was trying to hide the redness on her face by looking away. Senior Zheng's face flushed with redness. What did he do to deserve such treatment? He has never lost so much face at once before, and if it weren't for Su Yang's status, he would have long gone to beat Su Yang up for his unnecessary remarks. However, no matter how angry he was, Senior Zheng controlled his emotions and bowed to Su Yang before speaking. "Thank you, Senior, for your advice." Su Yang nodded and spoke as he gazed at the people there. "Is there anyone who still doubts my words?" The people there quickly shook their heads. "Good. Then let us begin the second test." Su Yang waved his sleeves, causing many storage pouches to appear. He then handed one to every individual in the room. Inside each storage pouch is 100 different scented pouches, each emitting a unique scent. For the second test, you all have 4 hours to smell each of these pouches and memorize it. Once the 4 hours have passed, I will explain the second part of the test. You may begin now. The people there immediately opened their storage pouches to find 100 small scented pouches inside, each with a unique aroma to it, and a number written on the pouch. They then began to smell each of the scented pouches individually, taking many minutes to memorize the smell and the number it belonged to before moving on to the next scented pouch. 4 hours later, Su Yang clapped his hands and said, "Put everything back into the storage pouch and toss it in the middle of the room." Sometime later, a pile of storage pouches laid on the floor beside Su Yang. "I will now give each of you a bottle of scented substance." Su Yang then handed each of them a small glass bottle that had a few drops of liquid inside. "I have used 5 different aromas from the 100 scented pouches to create the substance inside the bottle, with every bottle in this room emitting a unique aroma, and you all have 10 minutes to smell the substance inside the bottle and find out which of the 5 aromas I had used to create that mixture." Once you have an answer, you may reseal the bottle, as that will declare your completion. You may begin now. The people there looked at the glass bottle in their hands with a dazed expression on their faces. When they opened the bottle and smelled the aroma, they cried inwardly, "This is fucking impossible. I am not a pig, nor do I have the nose of a dog. How the hell am I supposed to figure out which aroma he'd mixed inside?" Seeing the perplexed and troubled expression on their faces, Su Yang smiled behind his mask. "If it was too easy, I wouldn't have needed this examination to find a disciple." While the majority of the people in the room were having trouble sniffing out the correct aromas, Tang Lingxi took a single sniff of the bottle before casually sealing the bottle and placing it down. 3 minutes later, Wang Xuren also sealed the bottle with a confident expression on her face. At the 4th minute, a pretty young lady that was not Luo Wuxia sealed the bottle. 5 minutes into the test, Senior Zheng and Bai Lihua sealed their bottles with a few seconds in between. 6 minutes into the test, Luo Wuxia finally sealed her own bottle. At the 7th minute, Su Zun and a few others sealed their bottles. During the last 3 minutes, another 10 people sealed their bottles, whilst the remaining participants showed a defeated expression on their faces. By the end of the test, less than 20 people have managed to seal their bottles. Chapter 574, the third test. Once the 10 minutes had passed, Su Yang handed out another piece of paper to everyone in the room and said, "It'll be just like the first test. The scroll will automatically record your thoughts, and it does not allow you to guess an answer. So if you do not have a confident answer, the scroll will not treat it as though you don't have an answer." Despite his words, nobody in the room willingly left the room. Even if they were not confident about their answers, they still had to try. Sometime later, when everyone in the room has their result, Su Yang spoke, "If your scroll is blank, you have failed the test and you may leave." Immediately after he said those words, almost all of the people in the room stood up and left the place. A few minutes later, less than 100 participants remained in the room. Now, if your scroll has a number that's lower than 3, you may also leave this room. Those who had either number 1 or 2 on their scrolls immediately sighed before leaving the room. If you have the number 3 on your scroll, it means that you have barely passed the test by getting 3 out of the 5 available answers correct. If you have number 4, it means you have a powerful nose. If you figured out all 5 ingredients in your mixture, then you have a special nose that's suited for alchemy, as only 1 in 10 million people are born with a nose that can smell all 5 aromas from the mixture. Su Yang said to the remaining 20 people in the room, "Wait a moment, Senior. Are you saying that only certain people with a special nose are able to smell all 5 aromas no matter what? Then what was the point of giving everyone a unique aroma?" Senior Zheng asked him, as he only managed to guess 3 out of 5 aromas, barely passing the second test despite ranking highly in the first one. Su Yang smiled and said, "Everybody actually had the same mixture in their glass bottle. However, the mixture itself is very unique, and it will smell different depending on the person, hence why I said every glass bottle has a unique scent. As for the ingredients, they are all of the possible scents from the mixture. The mixture I gave you is called the ever-changing perfume, and depending on how sharp your sense of smell is, you can only smell whatever it allows you to. And if you cannot discern 3 or more aromas from the ever-changing perfume, it simply means that you do not have the nose to learn the techniques that I will be teaching my disciples." Su Yang then spoke, "Show me your results. If your result is 3, I will give you 10 points. If your result is 4, I will give you 25 points, and if you have a perfect result, I will give you 50 points." Sometime later, Su Yang began naming out every individual with the same result. Hong Yuer Suzun, Senior Feng, 10 points. What? Hong Yuer also barely managed to pass. The people there looked at her with surprised looks. HMPH. This body was not born with any talent for alchemy, hence why I could only smell 3 out of 5 aromas. This is something even I cannot change. As for the first test, if not for my mental strength assisting this body, it would have been impossible for Hong Yuer to have memorized all 100,000 ingredients, Tang Lingxi thought to herself. Bai Lihua, Luo Yixiao, Wang Shuren, 25 points. After naming everybody in the room except one person, Su Yang turned to look at the young lady who sealed her glass bottle 4 minutes into the test. You are the only one who has managed to discern all 5 aromas from the mixture. What's your name? Su Yang asked her. The young lady stood up and gave him an elegant bow before speaking. This junior is called Kai Yan, the youngest daughter of the Kai family. He nodded and continued. If you can pass the final test and become my disciple, I have a technique that'll further strengthen your sense of smell. If mastered, you can smell certain things even from miles away. This junior will do her best in order to not disappoint the senior. Cayenne bowed to him again before returning to her seat. A few moments later, Su Yang looked at the remaining participants and said to them, "This will be the last test, but before I allow you partake in it, I must warn you that by participating in this test, you might suffer damages to your mind, so I will give all of you a few minutes to rethink this through. We might suffer mental damage. What kind of test is this?" Senior Zheng asked him. "It would spoil the fun if I told you about it in advance." Su Yang shook his head and he continued, "I can tell you, but you will have to forfeit the test." The participants there exchanged looks with each other, their expressions filled with anxiousness and skepticism. However, despite being told that they could damage their mind, nobody gave up, as they have progressed too far to give up now. Furthermore, even if it was risky, they believed that it was entirely worth it if they can be the disciple of a great figure like him. Nobody is giving up. Good. Su Yang smiled behind the mask, and he continued, "Wang Shuren, Hong Yuer, there's no need for the two of you to participate in this test." Wang Shuren sighed with relief inwardly after hearing his words, as she did not want to experience that solitude again, or she might really go crazy. As for Tang Lingxi, there was no point in making her partake in this test, as she was not really trying to become his disciple, and as a fellow immortal, she was guaranteed to pass the test anyway. As for the rest of you, I want you to sit beside each other in the lotus position and close your eyes. Su Yang said to them Chapter 575 Soul Invading Pill. After Su Yang's instructions, the remaining participants all gathered in the middle of the room and sat down in the lotus position before closing their eyes. This exam will only last 1 hour, but it might feel slightly longer depending on your mental strength. Good luck, Su Yang said to them before retrieving the everlasting time pill and crushing it. After smearing the powder into the air and over these participants, the entire room immediately turned silent. 1 hour, so they have to endure 10 years of solitude? Wang Shuren asked him after seeing no response from the participants. If she had experienced 100 years of solitude in 10 hours in the real world, it would make sense that 1 hour would mean 10 years of solitude. However, Su Yang shook his head and said, "While it is true that they have to endure a minimum of 10 years of solitude, depending on their mental strength, it might increase for a few more years. For example, the pill is more effective on those who are weak-minded, and if you are terrified of being alone, those 10 years will become 11 years, 12 years, perhaps even longer." Wang Shuren looked at the participants with a worried expression on her face, and she asked him, "What will you do if their mind really gets injured in the process? They are people with profound and powerful backgrounds. If they arrived here with a normal and healthy mind but return home retarded, I don't want to imagine what they might try to do." Su Yang chuckled and said, "Don't worry, I only said that to mess with their minds, increasing the effects of the pill on them. I will wake them up before they go crazy. This pill sure brings back some unpleasant memories. Tang Lingxi suddenly spoke in a nostalgic voice, causing Wang Xuren to look at her with interest. Since you are also his disciple, you should know the master's real identity, right? She asked Tang Lingxi, who was still occupying Hong Yuer's mortal body. Disciple, since you aren't aware of the situation, I won't blame you too much, but don't you dare lower my standing to a mere disciple. I am not his disciple. I am his wife. Tang Lingxi responded with a cold stare, sending chills down Wang Xuren's back. Oh, right, you are engaged with Su Yang. I nearly forgot. I apologize, Wang Xuren said a moment later. Seeing Tang Lingxi narrow her eyes, Wang Xuren quickly asked with a puzzled expression, Am I wrong? No, you are not wrong. I am his fiancé, but I am also not. Hearing Tang Lingxi's confusing words, Wang Xuren tilted her head with raised eyebrows. Is she safe? Tang Lingxi looked at Su Yang and asked him. He nodded. I have already told her about my real background. Listen well, Su Yang's disciple. You may be looking at Hong Yuer right now, but I am not Hong Yuer, at least not on the inside. My name is Tang Lingxi, and I am currently occupying Hong Yuer's mortal body with the help of a soul-invading pill. Hearing Tang Lingxi's seemingly crazy words, Wang Xuren's jaw dropped to the ground. Don't worry, I have Hong Yuer's permission to use her body. Anyway, my real body is currently at the four divine heavens where Su Yang is originally from. Tang Lingxi continued to explain to her. Four divine heavens, so you are also an immortal, Tang Lingxi nodded and said. But I am not just any immortal. I am from the Usra God clan, one of the most feared powers in the whole universe. Wow. Although Wang Xuren does not comprehend even slightly the full extent of the Usra God clan's prowess and reputation, she could not help but admire the otherworldly aura emitting from Tang Lingxi's body. By the way, what's this soul-invading pill? Wang Xuren asked a moment later, as she was more interested in alchemy than anything else. The soul-invading pill is a priceless and forbidden pill that allows one to detach their soul from their own body and temporarily invade anyone with a weaker mental. There is only one person in this entire universe who can concoct such a pill, the alchemy god. Su Yang said to her. The alchemy god. Wang Xuren's desire to meet this individual greatly increased after learning of the existence of the soul-invading pill. After all, what kind of person could possibly create such a heaven-defying pill that allows one to invade another's body? However, when Tang Lingxi heard them mention the name alchemy god, her expression soured. Is there something wrong? Wang Xuren noticed Tang Lingxi's expression and asked her. No, it's just that she's a very controversial person, so whenever someone mentions her, you would more often than not see similar expressions. Tang Lingxi sighed. Does it have anything to do with the soul-invading pill, a forbidden pill? That's only one of many crazy pills that she has invented. There are even worse pills out there that could easily put the soul-invading pill to shame. One can only wonder why she would create these kinds of pills. Tang Lingxi said. She then looked at Su Yang and thought to herself, though it's even more mysterious how he managed to seduce her, who's renowned for not caring about everything that's not alchemy related. A few minutes into the final test, one of the participants suddenly trembled. When Su Yang saw this, he immediately approached that individual and slapped that person in the face, immediately waking them up. Ha ha, Haya, where am I? The participant began panting heavily after waking up. Calm down, you are still in the assembly hall. Su Yang said to the man. What? I am possible, but I was for an entire year. The man looked at him with a panicked face. However, Su Yang did not say anything else, and he suddenly poked the man's forehead with his index finger, which was glowing with a golden light. A few seconds later, the man's expression turned blank and his eyes were void of light, almost as though he had lost his mind. After a few more seconds, the light returned to the man's eyes. Huh, what was I doing just now? The man looked around with a confused expression. You have failed the exam. You should leave now. Su Yang said to him. What? That's impossible, the man exclaimed in a shocked voice, as he doesn't even remember taking the exam.